everybody. I hope everybody's doing well in our ongoing series of Where the Heck is Carlos? I am here this morning with John. John is my faithful sidekick today. Good morning, John.
Morning, Peter. How you doing?
I am doing great. And hopefully you're doing well.
I am, yeah. It's been a long time since I've done a pre-market show, so this should be fun. I'm sure it'll be riddled with mistakes. Right when you're getting your stride after 3 days of filling in for Carlos, I'm here to throw popsicle sticks in your spokes of your bicycle.
Yeah, indeed. And we got to get these cameras right so we get you in the middle. Well, I might need you to move because I can't change the camera, but there you go. Too far. Back. Anyways, all good. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm hoping that we're going to have a great trading day today. We've had a pretty good week so far, right? There's been lots of trading opportunity. As always, when you have a summer session, it doesn't mean that it's easy trading, right? There's no just set and forget type trades where you can just jump in and assume it's going to go directionally for you all day. However, if you're attentive, you can certainly find some good trades. Now, that being said, John, you are an open day, you're a high of day break trader. You probably haven't been loving this week. Things haven't been going up.
No. Yeah, no. It does. It is weird how when stocks go down, it makes that particular strategy harder. So yeah, no, have I had a good day even this week? I'm not sure I have, Peter. I think I've been struggling to kind of just stay about break even. And I think I was red yesterday. So, yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah, I would imagine. It's been a fairly weak market. And, I said, I guess I feel good about it because I like weak markets because I'm I'm a bearish type of guy. So I like it when things go down. But,
that is
all right.
true, yeah.
But let's look at the markets for today. As we can see on the gappers, we've got a fairly light list, actually. Just a couple of things. I see Walmart on there. It's really the only thing I was tracking for earnings. We'll get to that when we get the gap down list. This morning, we do have a couple of things on the economic calendar. Maybe, John, you can give us that rundown.
Yeah, so initial jobless claims just came out, and they came out a little high. So 235,000 new initial jobless claims, expected 225. So it's at 10,000 more than they were expecting. Continuing claims are up a little bit too, like 1.9 million, almost 2 million versus like 1.96 expected. So not too good there. A rate cut would feel good right about now, probably in light of that information, but we'll see where that goes. They made yesterday was the what did we get this week? We got FOMC minutes. Or they have
we did, yeah.
We did. We had minutes. Okay, so
yeah.
I don't know when their next meeting is. It's probably in September.
September 17th, I think, is when we hear their next rate announcement. But tomorrow, everybody, we've got the big press conference that we have from Jackson Hole. So they're busy talking out there in the hole in Jackson Hole. Anyways, we have no idea what they're going to say, what their discussions are. Remember last time when we had the rate announcement, was the first time in apparently in like 30 years or something that they had publicly disclosed dissent on the vote. Now, I'm sure it happens regularly, but normally they come to a consensus and then they, jointly all agree on what the statement is. In this case, we had two of the Fed leaders that specifically wanted it known that they had voted against the majority, I guess, and had actually voted for a rate cut, but were overruled. So out of Jackson Hole, it could be an interesting conversation because this is a broader economic forum, right? It doesn't only involve the Feds. They bring in a number of other we'll call them luminaries, individuals anyways, who have perspectives on the U.S. economy and what should happen. So we'll see. Obviously, Powell is the one who's the spokesperson and will sort of release the summary notes. And that's coming up tomorrow. I forget when tomorrow. Tomorrow sometime, anyways. That's going to happen. Let's see here. That would be tomorrow, 10 a.m. So that'll be interesting because it'll be right after the open. But that doesn't affect us today. The market should continue unimpeded. But yeah, we may find out sooner rather than later, John, what they're thinking about for rates.
So, Peter, I'm getting reports of an echo. Are you hearing it from me
I
specifically?
don't hear it, but hold on a sec. I could probably fix that. Oh, normally it's because you're in too many places. I don't see that here now.
Hmm.
Oh, you know why? I bet you it's me. Hold on a sec. I bet you the echo's coming back because I forgot to put the old headset on. So one moment. All right.
How's
Hopefully.
that, everybody? I just
Oh,
adjusted my gain as well. That probably wasn't the problem.
no, hold on a sec.
It's worse
I have to
now.
connect the headphones. 1 second. All right. Now let's give it a shot, everyone. Say something, John.
Sorry, testing coconuts, algebra. I don't know what those words are the microphone people say.
Okay. There we go. That was me. All right. It was on my end once again. So
Okay,
thank you
great.
guys for pointing it out so that I could fix that echo. Okay, guys, let's get to our program. As we mentioned, we got a few things on the gappers list that we can take a peek at and see what they're doing. I'm going to start at the top here with Evoke. Now, I feel like this has popped up in the past. I don't. I know I've never traded it, but Evoke Pharma looks like it's up 12% on 5 million shares traded. That being said, as I'm looking at the chart here, it's been going down since about 7 in the morning here. So it looks like it had an initial pop up. Now it's been losing most of the gains. Why is this happening, John?
Yeah, I'll read that off here in a second. Peter, I think also we
Oh,
might need to share a screen in the actual BBT chat room.
I did it again. You know what? I hit the wrong button. Hold on a sec. See, I keep sharing a camera instead of a screen. Sorry, everybody. See, thank you.
It's kind of incredible what our customers expect of us. First, they want to hear the show properly, and then they want to actually be able to see it. I don't know. What else do we have to do? Like, what other
So
five
demanding.
senses do we have? Yeah, geez.
So demanding. All right, no, that's
Hard
my
to
fault. It's
please
funny. I
people.
got it right the first day, and then I've got it wrong. I think every day since. So, anyways, all right.
But Evoke, which reminds me of the word Ewok from the planet Endor, but it's not, Peter. This is a company that it's a pharmaceutical company that focuses on gastrointestinal disorder treatment. So thank God they're out there. But they reported earnings with a 47% year-over-year growth in net product sales and a 20% increase in new prescribers. Things are looking rosy for the Ewoks. Which is nice for them. So yeah, they're doing well today. I don't know how tradable this kind of thing is. It's a little cheap for us. How's the volume?
I mean, it's been great. 5 million, over 5 million shares this morning, which is well above its average volume. On an average day, it only trades 360,000 shares. So we're
All right.
already like 15-fold its normal volume. So
Yeah, so could be something to watch.
it could be. It is hard to borrow, which means you can only trade it to the long side as well. But if you guys like it, by all means, let's take a look at a daily chart. It is in an interesting range, or at least it's set the possibility of a range here. You can see that it had popped up back at about a month ago, a month and a half ago at the beginning of July. So, it's done it before. It could do it again. My gut is this is going to be one of those stocks that has popped up pre-market, and then as soon as the market opens, it's going to sell off and end up red. But let's find out. We'll find out together. I don't know. Not something I'm going to spend a lot of time watching. But look what is on our list. One of our good old friends that actually was here earlier this week, Xpev, is back. I'm really surprised. I didn't think I would see its reemergence at all. I don't know until next quarter.
Yeah, that one just popped up. Yeah, I didn't see that this morning. Let me check XFEB real quick. I don't see any specific news for XPEV. I don't think. How much is it up?
It's had a good climb here. It's up, well, just under 5%, 4.7%, which, at this
Oh,
stock price is less than a buck. The volume is not as high as I would want for a real gunner. It's only up traded 570,000 shares. So, I mean, this could just be random continuation. I do believe this is dual traded, which would mean this could just be moving because we had some pop on its alternate market. I think it's
yeah.
traded in Hong Kong, but I don't know for sure.
It so this had earnings a couple days ago, I believe. So this
Yeah,
could be
it did.
reverberations of that. I do feel like Xpeng is coming up. The
Well,
everyone uses these days. Damn it. Oh, I can't remember. But anyway, it's being discussed more. Like BYD, like a few months ago, it seemed like everyone was about BYD, BYD, BYD's coming up. And lately I'm hearing more about Xpeng. And I don't know why that is exactly. I tend to follow a lot of EV news, and there seems to be more of a buzz about this company lately. Um, Not sure,
uh,
but
I, I don't know if it's just me, but I've been fed a whole lot of videos on Chinese EVs, and like some of their minivans are quite amazing. The things that they've included in their minivans, like
they got a lot of good videos on these companies. A lot of these aren't really products that they actually have on the market necessarily, or they're very low volume cars. So
yeah,
I know like BYD had a famous video with Brian talked about a lot of car. It had a refrigerator in the back and all this Gucci stuff. And it looked great, but I don't think it was an actual car they were selling. It was more of a showroom prototype or something. Um,
right. I
so
don't know. They're doing a good job though, because I mean, usually I get them from the third party. At least I assume they're third party influencers that seem to review cars from a bunch of different brands, and
yeah.
they seem to get their hands on these vehicles, and then they do the test drive and the show you the sights. But it's some of them it's like, again, the minivans are the ones that stick with me because I'm not a big minivan fan, but there, you get these with like full reclining seats. Basically, you could live in this thing if you wanted, right? Screens
Yeah.
that like cover the entire windshield with screens in the back, and they're heating and massaging, and anyways, and then the front seat merges with the back seat to make like an entire bed, and and I'm like, they're really, I don't exactly know who they're marketing to. When would you use that? Like, I'm not sure that I want to say, you know what, let's go out for a movie night to the minivan. But
Well, given the cost of housing in the United States and Canada, Peter, I can see a good market for a, car that turns into a bed at night. That's not an entirely bad idea.
live
Maybe,
in my
maybe.
Xpeng. I guess you could. You put it in autonomous driving mode, it'll just drive you around all night. You don't even have to park anywhere. You just
Yeah.
find a charger in the morning. Anyways, all right. Okay. Well, I don't like XPEV for a trading opportunity. Did anyone? I'd be curious if anybody traded this earlier this week. I'm looking back at sort of a 5 minute chart to see what it did. It doesn't look like it traded all that well in the earlier days this week. So unless somebody sort of points it out later and says it's really, really moving well, not likely something I'm going to keep an eye on. All right, what else have we got on our gappers list? A couple of old favorites coming in today. Soundhound, that seems to be the next thing on here. Let's take a look at what Soundhound's doing, and then we've got Coreweave after that. Soundhound, just under 1 million shares, 920,000 traded, up just over my minimum level at 2.3%. Doesn't look all that exciting. Why is this happening? Any idea, John?
I actually don't see any particular news on
Okay.
Soundhound, and I'll reach out to the community here in the BBT chat or YouTube if anyone knows why it's moving, but I can't find anything specific. It
This
doesn't take
is
a lot to move Soundhound.
Yeah, it's small enough of a move that it could very well just be, sort of like almost even a dead cat bounce. Look at this daily chart. Look how it went up and down. I mean, this is quite a cup formation, or volcanic eruption, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we're back down to the levels that it had set in July, which tells me that it could very well sort of gap higher, but still be an inside day to the gap down that it had yesterday. So probably nothing to see there. I mentioned CoreWeave. It was the next one that was on our list, CRWV. It's got just over 1 million shares, also 2.4% increase, which just puts it over my minimum threshold. So I'm willing to bet there's probably no news on this. It's another one of those pseudo dead cat bounce
Just an
strategies.
analyst upgrade, HC Wainwright, which is a
Okay.
very formidable name, has upgraded from neutral to buy $180 price target. So what's it at right now? 93. That's a great gain.
Mm,
Can't
yeah.
beat that.
Indeed. Okay. Well, I don't usually like trading analyst upgrades. It's not enough to keep some consistent movement or volume in a stock. So, look, guys, I see a lot of red on my screen, which means I don't have a lot of targets on the gap up. The only other thing I see that is on my list is Oklo, OKLO, but the volume's only 300,000 shares, gapping 0.3%. So not much going on there. Certainly I would not expect any news on that. John, you live off of these things that move higher. Anything on your radar?
On OKLO?
Well,
No, I don't.
just on any other
Oh,
ticker.
just on the whole radar. Well, I just no, I there might be a couple things. I did want to ask you if you heard the name H.C. Wainwright. If I said, Peter, what do you think that company does? And you didn't know it was an analyst for stock. What do you think H.C. Wainwright would do?
They sound like they'd be like an old school steel company.
Yeah, I was thinking typewriters.
Okay, all right, yeah, there you
Get
go.
an
That
old.
works too.
I love the type on an old H.C. Wainwright. Yeah, but what am I looking at? I mean, I'll be looking at Tesla today. I'll be looking at Nvidia, but what you said is true, Peter. It's not my market. The most important thing I can do is take a chill pill today, and wait for things to turn around in my direction and make everything easier for me. I don't have to go fight this market today, and that's a hard thing to remember in day trading because it's the casinos pretty much it's always open, every
Right.
trading day. And it's very, very, very tempting to get into this stuff. And I got into what was it? PLTR too early looking for the buyback yesterday, and it just bit me twice and just kind of made
Yeah.
everything for a hard day. So I'm not
Well,
real stoked to even look for anything, but it'll probably be the usual mag
I
7 stuff.
I can't blame you because I'm looking and pretty much everything is gapping down. You mentioned PLTR. It's been a great mover over the last few days. Like I mentioned, you can't just set a stock a set and forget it type trade because it moved down again yesterday and then bounced back up and ended up higher than it started. So, not a bad day overall for PLTR. It was interesting. I ran into an analyst review of in Bloomberg they had this article. There's been a lot of talk about PLTR's valuation. I'm looking for here it is. This was published in Bloomberg. If you look at all of the S&P 500 stocks and you look at PLTR's price to sales ratio, basically this sort of values how well priced is it. PLTR is a significant outlier to the entire rest of the S&P 500 where and they're pointing out some key ones with Boeing, Tesla, and Nvidia here, but look at how they're all gathered down here between 0 and about 25, let's say, and then PLTR is way up here at 85. We were talking yesterday in the chat room about an article that said, is PLTR the most overvalued stock of all time? And that's a big statement.
It's not,
PLTR
by the
is,
way.
what's that?
It's not, by the way.
I don't
It's funny how we
know.
forget things, but I was telling the chat room yesterday, I bought Walmart when the PE on that was about, I think around 700, 6, 7, 800. It changes so much, but it was
Right,
really, really high when I bought it. And it took off from the moment I bought it. It never looked back. So even,
right,
because that's when it started to create earnings basically and
right.
knock that number down. So it's hard,
Yeah.
hard to, hard to make sense of any of this sometimes. And it's,
Well, absolutely, because we have some very standard methods, and this is the one thing that always has bothered me about fundamental analysis, and even some of our technical analysis. We use very standard assumptions that you want to apply across the board, and companies are in very different life cycles, right? So a price earnings ratio for a company that's pre-earnings is totally meaningless.
right,
So,
right, exactly. Yeah.
right, and you can imagine it would be very different for a company like Walmart that's got large infrastructure. It's obviously got a lot of history behind it. It's hard to judge companies on an equal basis. PLTR is an established company. They certainly have revenue, but they've been in a high growth phase. So it's interesting that hey, they absolutely are an outlier. The reason I point this out though is because what we care about is how does this affect how it's going to trade. And in the short term, this could start making people nervous. The more talk you get out there about, oh my God, it's so overvalued and look out for it, it could do one of two things, right? People could then jump in and see it as a buying opportunity and this thing could shoot up thinking the growth is coming. using your example, John, we've seen it before, right? Where things are seen highly overvalued. But if the revenue starts to follow, you can change that price to earnings very quickly because the earnings, right? You change the denominator, that number decreases with the valuation not having to change or even going up. However, the other side of that equation is if people do not think there's a great influx of revenue coming for the company, then they could start lightening their positions on this. We could see some analyst downgrades, but those usually come after the price starts to drop.
Right.
So one way or the other, PLTR still feels in play, and it feels like something we should be keeping an eye on. So it's absolutely on my list.
One of the problems in trading is these numbers we use often are only useful when the data sort of settles down, so to speak.
Right.
So like when PLTR starts to earn more and it's more consistent, that number will be more meaningful and you can kind of wrap your head around it. It's kind of like in day trading, we use relative volume and average true range a lot. Those are great statistics when the data is somewhat settled down. If you get an outlier day on a stock in terms of volume or range, then that number gets all wonky for the next 7, 8, 10 days because it's like saying the average home in my neighborhood is $500,000, but there's one guy with a $50 million house and everyone else has a,
Right.
300,000, whatever, you know what I mean? It's all screwy when until things sort of get a little bit of I don't know, not equilibrium, but all the numbers settle down and they're easier to read. So
things stabilize a little bit. I like to use always be careful about using averages because you can sort of freeze one of my hands and set my other hand on fire, and on average I'm okay. So careful about using averages. So. All right, well, let's get back to our stocks. Let's take a look at the gappers list here. We have a lot of stuff. I mean, look, everything's gapping down. Most of it, though, is not gapping down enough to make my list because really we're just down on most things I'm looking at by maybe about half to 2/3%. But let's look at what's on the gappers list, starting with the thing at the top here in Novavax. Novavax is gapping down here about 8.5% with 1.8 million shares traded. As Carlos would like to say, who's getting fired?
I didn't find any big news on NVAX. Let me check again right now. The only thing I saw was something about a convertible debt refinancing, and I don't know if that's enough to move the stock that much. I don't see anything this morning. I have a rule that if the word convertible is in the news announcement for a stock, I just skip right over it because I don't know what it means. I know you do, Peter, but we got a couple stocks on here doing debt refinancing and I don't know, additional shares in these things, and I never understand them.
Does that also apply when you're looking at car ads? You won't buy it if it says convertible?
I owned a convertible for 8 years, and it's a bit of a slog. It's a lifestyle for sure. So I probably won't go back to those either.
There you go. Pseudo dad joke. Couldn't resist. So, all right. All right. So that's Novavax. It doesn't look great. I would agree. I can't see any news. And most of this move, if I'm looking at the 5-minute chart, happened in the last 45 minutes. So that doesn't look all that interesting to me. SRPT is on our list. Sarepta Therapeutics has been on our list a number of times over the last little while. Looking at a daily, you can see it's been just... It has not been having a good year as it's been going down since about this time last year. In fact, June looks like when it was its peak in 2024, and it has just been losing altitude. My God, from like $170 down to $10, and has made a little bit of recovery up to 19. 700,000 shares traded. I can imagine this could probably be moving with no news.
This happens to be the other one with the word convertible in the news. So they announced refinancing of approximately $700 million of 1.25% convertible senior notes due 2027. It's another car without a roof.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Don't like it. All right. IREN. IREN is one of these stocks that just consistently confuses me. It pops up every once in a while, and I say confuses me only because this is an Australian company. It's listed as a capital markets, which would mean that it's sort of like a finance-based company, but they actually run data centers And over the last few years, they have jumped on every single trend out there, right? They were a crypto company, and then they realized they could make more money in AI, so they jumped in and said they were an AI company. Now they're providing data centers for AI and crypto companies. They also do have an exchange strategy where they're stockpiling some cryptocurrencies. Hey, I'd be curious if anybody's out there and has ever dealt with them as an actual company and their services. They seem like they don't know what they want to be when they grow up, but they keep popping up on our list every once in a while. I have never paid much attention to them. John, any reason for me to change that perspective?
No, I don't see any news on iron. There was some news yesterday, which is kind of my favorite stock news, which says, let me read this here. Iron falls as investors book gains, which is like the laziest way to write a financial article, right? Like the stock's falling as people sell, essentially, is what it's saying. So there you go.
There you go.
If you want the news.
You know what? I never thought about it that way, but you're right. That is very lazy. That's sort of like, yeah.
Stock falls as sellers hit the bid. Something, it's no kidding.
It's sort of like it's just a truism. It means nothing. Yeah. So, but it sounds good. All right. Well, fair enough. I see we've got a couple of things. If I look at my gappers list here, that are there probably just because crypto prices are down with everything else. It looks like today, ClearSpark is on the list. SBET is there. Black Bear BBAI is on the list. So, is there anything? I mean, I see Bitcoin prices down to 112,000, which is another little bit of a drop from the highs where it was 122 a little while back. Anything that we should know about these?
No, I think all the Bitcoin or all the crypto stuff is down a bit. Like you said, Bitcoin's down a bit lately, and also this stuff is the market's down, and whether we like it or not, crypto does tend to move with the larger market moves as well. The market does really well, and it's going to drag up those stocks and up and down, and they tend to react more. And I think they end up on our gappers list simply because they're capable of moving more.
Okay, well, that brings me to last but not least, Walmart. Walmart was the only one with earnings I was looking at. I know from having looked at them, I think I can't remember, they beat one number and missed the other one. I can't remember which was which. I think they beat on revenue, did they, and missed on earnings? Anyways, John, why don't you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, the news I got is that they missed on earnings per share, 68 cents per share earned versus 73 was the estimate. And in revenue, they actually came in a little higher, 177 billion over 175 billion projected. So that's good. They saw strong traffic in their e-commerce sector, so that's doing well. And they raised guidance. I think that's what they were saying. I mean, they expect increased sales of about 3.75 to 4.75% for next year for Q3. So it looked okay, but if you're not going to clearly knock it out of the park right now, as the market is getting a little shaky, then you're not going to get the pop, I guess.
Yeah, and I think if we had better market fundamentals, then Walmart should be gapping up today, despite the mixed earnings. Usually when you raise your guidance, that's seen as good news. But like you said, John, with the backdrop of this weak market, I think they just can't fight the tide. And they're moving down here. They're not down significantly, 2.9% off of 2.6 million shares. This is a New York Stock Exchange traded stock, which means that's fairly good volume pre-market for them. So I think that they, I think this potentially is one that we could keep an eye on. I'm going to put it on my secondary list. If nothing else, so we can set some levels on it. I rarely trade it. Walmart and I haven't always got along. Just as a trading opportunity, for whatever reason, it's taken my money. And
I've had it on my secondary list forever, and I couldn't tell you the last time I made decent money on Walmart, and it's a tough one. Didn't Target come in weak yesterday as well?
They had a pretty similar story, where they beat on revenue and missed on earnings, but were gapping down. Yes, I write that down. So. Yeah. So similar story, it looks like on Walmart, guys. I'm going to put it on my secondary. You know, Cranky Rider's pointing out Walmart said tariffs will hurt low and middle income people. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, right? We've seen, I was reading an article yesterday where they said Walmart has increased a lot of their products, especially their imported goods, which is, think, pretty much everything that they have in the store. Yeah, I mean, they're clearly they're doing what you would expect, right? When you're a low price retailer who's famous for pushing their suppliers for the lowest possible prices because they'll give them, volume deals. They're going to pass on any price increase directly to consumer. They're not going to absorb it. So yeah, we're seeing that price increase start to filter through, and not a surprise on that. I don't know what it's going to mean for trading today. I said in this downturning market, but with generally good news, because again, Walmart as a company, they increased their guidance. So again, normally a good sign. Yeah, it makes this a little sketchy. So I'd be very suspicious of moves on Walmart, but I'm going to watch it anyways. Okay. Other than that, we already mentioned PLTR. I've got that on my main list. I don't, we sort of passed by Nvidia. Nvidia and AMD are my two go-to semiconductor stocks. Not doing much today. If I look at a daily chart, they're actually sort of interesting in that this is very much set up to be an absolute inside day compared to the price action we had both yesterday and the day before. So I can't imagine this stock going any lower than 170 probably today. 168, I would say, wherever the low is here, and certainly not higher than 182, at least not the way the markets look today. And if you look at AMD, it's got a sort of a similar profile where the current price is sitting sort of within yesterday's candle, and it's unlikely to go higher than what we had the day before with that big pull down, and unlikely to go lower than what we had. That being said, never say never, right? This market does look weak, and maybe it's the start of the sell-off. If I look at these, the Qs, the overall market index, I mean, we're still in what I would consider a very healthy all-time high range. But if we drop just a couple of bucks here, we've got some sort of light price action until we get down to a place where it last, consolidated, which is around 530, 540 here on the Qs. So a $20 drop would be pretty significant. Again, not suggesting it's going to happen, but I'm ready in case it should. So what do you guys like that we haven't talked about? Alfredo, I see you're mentioning Boeing. Boeing has some news. Boeing's a funny one for me because I never know how it's going to trade on news. Generally, here's my assumption. No matter what the news is, good or bad, Boeing moves higher on news. It always seems to happen, but it doesn't do it directly. It'll first head fake you out, and then it's going to get a spike higher. But what's the news on Boeing? I don't. If you can tell me.
Boeing. Yeah. How much is it? Is it gapped up a lot?
It's up only 1.7%.
Oh, 500 plane China deal. That's pretty good news.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's see. Dig into this. Boeing stock rises on potential 500 plane China deal. Yeah, that's the news. I don't know how.
Okay. Well, look, that's good news for the company if they do have a 500 plane deal. Hard again in a market that's got sort of very negative overtones. It might be hard for Boeing to take advantage of that on this day and push the stock price higher. They sort of look interesting from a daily look. They've consolidated here. They do have a good opportunity to move higher if they can get over 234, I think, which is about $5 higher than the current price. So, within reach, but they'd have to put some.
That's a lot of airplanes, isn't it?
Yeah, 500. Yeah. I mean, that is a pretty big order. It depends over what time period. Is this 500 over the next decade?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's interesting, though. China was developing their own homegrown airliner, and I don't think that's going very well. That's a tough thing to pull off.
Planes are very difficult to manufacture, especially to the standards that are expected to fly internationally, which would be the only way that it would be useful, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's look, Boeing's had their share of issues, of course, with their self-regulation and some of the safety issues, doors blowing off, if you remember, and all that stuff. But let's face it, overall, air travel is still by far, like orders of magnitude, safer than any other method of travel out there. So, we always have to keep that in mind. So, all right. So, thank you guys for mentioning Boeing. What else have you got? Anything else? Let's see what's happening on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. We do appreciate that on YouTube, and we still have our charity going. If you want to donate to the charity, we haven't moved that much in the last couple of days. Every donation helps. We've got only just over a week, 9 days left on this. So it'd be great if we could hit that $3,000 goal for children's cancer, to fight children's cancer. So appreciate it. Hit that donate button. You can find it if you go to the YouTube. I see you mentioned Sumathi. You're mentioning PLTR, which we did take a look at earlier. NVIDIA and AMD, absolutely. We talked about those. I mean, they're always on my list. Maybe being that my list is so light, I should explicitly put them in here. Just so that they're... The other one, of course, that I always keep an eye on is Tesla. Because Tesla's always good for a move, no matter what's going on. Yeah, it's pretty light. You guys don't have a lot of suggestions either. You mentioned, Rob, you're mentioning XPEV. We did take a look at that earlier. Didn't love it. XPEV was, it's one of those ones that it is, one of the rare ones that is gapping up this morning. I'm skeptical about whether it's going to be able to continue that move when the market opens and keep that volume. So we'll find it. CRWD. Now there's one we didn't look at. We did look at CoreWeave. I didn't look at CrowdStrike. So CRWD has, oh my God, like no volume. 13,000 shares today. Yeah. So I'm not sure what to make of it. I mean, if you look at a daily chart, it has been in a downturn for 6 weeks now. Really not doing much of interest so far this morning. Yeah, there's nothing special to call it out for me. So
yeah, that looks really low volume.
Yeah. Oh wow! Anonymous donated $50 to Kids Cancer. That's huge. Wow. Thank you so much. That's a fantastic. That's bigger than I was expected. I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. That's what she said. All right. Sorry. Moving on. I've been watching The Office, so now it's like.
Clearly you have, yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said. Anyways. All right. If anybody knows Michael, that's Michael's favorite line. Okay. All right, guys. I think we're out of stuff to watch. Why don't we then, let's go to our list of activities happening in the chat room. And John, you're a little more familiar with this process. Maybe you can let us know what's happening here in the community today.
That's right. It's Mentorship Day. So we'll be kicking off today at 11 o'clock with Lenny doing trend trading mentorship in the webinar room. This is for our elite members. So if you bump up to the elite level of membership, this is the kind of stuff you have access to. Jared doing his options trading mentorship session at noon. Always look forward to people love to talk the options with Jared, and he's a great mentor. And then Thor tonight at 8 o'clock. So doing the Thursday mentorship tonight. So get mentored, people. Go take some time and ask some questions. Get in there too. Like don't let the same people dominate these sessions. Get in there and ask your questions. Your newbies that are afraid to raise their hand, get in there and go poke Lenny's mind and Jared and Thor and get involved. And speaking of elite memberships, if you'd like to join Bearable Traders, that is the best deal we have out there, the Elite Annual. You can see it up there for $11.99. Or you can do that in a monthly form for $199 a month. And there's also the basic and intro memberships as well. But again, if you want access to the webinars like the Thursday mentoring, the Tuesday night strategy webinars, the Wednesday night psychology webinars, which are hugely important, come join us on the elite membership side and get access to all that stuff. It's really, really valuable.
All right, absolutely, and thank you for that, John. Guys, don't forget we also have our Peak Capital Bootcamp, which is going to be starting in September. John and I both tend to lead teams in that and have our focus sessions with our groups. Carlos is also in there. Of course, we've got Mike and Megan and so many others that provide mentorship and guidance as part of this boot camp. If you really want to accelerate your trading journey, consider it. Go to peakcapitaltrading.com. You can get all the information. If you got questions, reach out to us. I offer all the time and always happy when I get those emails saying, hey, look, here's where I'm at. Do you think it's for me? And I'll always answer you honestly. Some people I say yes. Some people I say consider. consider it, right? We want to make sure that you jump in there and get value from the investment. It's an investment, not only in dollars, but in time. And you've got to have the time available to really make it worthwhile. Because, look, we give you lots of work to do, right? Lots of opportunity for work. Do it or don't. That's completely up to you. Consider it like a university level course, right? The professors will never chase you to do your homework, but you will never get full value out of the course unless you actually do the work. So, PCAP or Bootcamp, I see a lot the same way, but it'll really help you on your journey, especially if you've got specific things you're looking to focus on and looking to improve over time.
And if I could say something, Peter, about Bootcamp, just so people know, but most times when you go pay for some trading education or assistance or what is kind of called mentorship online, you often get a series of videos is what the product is. Bootcamp is interactive in every single session. So everything. Peter and I both lead a small group. Me, Peter, Carlos, Lenny lead groups A, B, C, and D. And we break people into smaller groups. Every week that's with video and audio. We're all talking together. So it's even more than you have in this chat room right here where you can type in your questions. Everyone talks. Megan's got a weekly class. Eamon's got a weekly class. Dr. Charlin's got a weekly class. I mean, there's so much content, and all of it is on video and audio. It's all through Google Meet meetings. So it's a really unique opportunity to discuss trading and get mentored at that level. So check it out. Go to the website and see if it's something that you think is something you might be interested in. It starts in September, but the next one after that starts in January. The next one starts in May, and you can sign up for ones off in the future if you're not quite ready to look at that now.
There you go. And absolutely. All right. With that, guys, it's time for me to set some levels for you. Let's get going on that. Oh, that's we need this one. I can tell you right now what I'm looking for on Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, and PLTR is pretty much all the same. Largely, I'm thinking we're going to be having an inside day. So yesterday's low is absolutely a significant level I'm going to be watching on all four of those stocks, as well as yesterday's high when we're in the range. If we're actually trending outside of that range, by any stretch, then I'll be looking for 2 days ago high, but I don't think we're going to get up that high because pretty much all four of these stocks have had a very similar move, right? Where they had that big drop down on Tuesday, and then yesterday, sort of continued that move for the most part. Some made a push back, like you can see on Nvidia, pushed back and sort of ended up where it started after its move. PLTR actually ended up managing to increase a little bit, and Tesla, decreased a little bit. But all in all, right, they're sitting roughly in that same type of category. So we'll see what happens. If we get a startling move, those four are ones I've been watching for so long. I've got lots of levels already set. Let's take a deeper look at Walmart because we haven't spent a lot of time with it over the last little while. I see on the daily here, look, Walmart was in a range that it broke out of at the beginning of August, and it's still at the top end of that range. I'm going to mark something around just under $100 here. Whoops. There it is. Just because I can see where it's sort of an area that was resistance may become support, and it actually was support last week. You can see where it bounced, went higher, and now we're back down into it. Now, pre-market, it did come below that level, so let me get closer in on the 60-minute chart and see what happened here. We did spike down, you can see pretty much exactly to this level that we had at the end of February. Not a surprise there that this would be an area where, we would have stopped because, again, you want to look to see where there was a lot of orders that, shares that changed hands. A lot of orders were executed. And that happened right at the highs up above. I'm thinking today we're not worried so much about the things up above, although remember, Walmart does have good news. So if the market sort of eases its downtrend, Walmart may be one that could spike higher. It might be worth keeping an eye on just in case it does get some momentum. In the last couple of minutes, zooming right in, I can see that it has started to, look, it's some indication that it might be able to go higher. But look, until we get above this area of consolidation from 7 a.m., which I should mark here as well, around 101.70, I don't think we're really committed to moving higher. So, and of course, then we've got to get green. And after that, like I was showing you on the daily, then we got to get back up to this level up here around 102. So we got some room, some space we have to cover if Walmart's really going to make a move higher. If it's going to go down, like I mentioned, this area consolidation, I'm immediately going to take a look at. And then below that, well, I want the bottom end of this consolidation range, which is about 94. Now, I don't know that. I mean, who knows? Anything could happen. I don't know where Walmart's likely to go today. Why can't I get more data on my Walmart chart? There it is. All right, there's more data. Where does this bring us? If I'm really looking lower, around the $90 mark would be something that I would look at for support. But again, this is assuming we get strong movement up or down on Walmart for any of these to come into play. Let me put a level up here, just 104, so I've got it. All right, so that's what I'm looking for on Walmart. And the other one on my gap resist was Boeing that you guys mentioned. Again, Boeing, I find, I don't know. I personally have found that Boeing, it doesn't matter what level I set, Boeing doesn't care. It ignores them. It doesn't like levels. it just does what it's going to do. I'm you can tell Boeing is another one that I'm not deep friends with. That being said, on the upside, they did have this order, this big plane order. It might go higher. 235.28. I'll put a level there to watch. I'm also going to put one here. We had the open of this day at 239.47. I think those are good levels to the top side. Of course, like we were mentioning, the highs and lows of the previous 2 days are going to keep an eye on, especially the lows. Notice the previous 2 days had pretty much the same low here. Let me look at the 60-minute chart and see what that tells me. Yeah, I can see on these 2 days, right? We sort of ended the day and then started yesterday at the same level. So not a lot of price movement yesterday, interestingly. So yeah, I those lows I'm going to keep an eye on here. The 223 range, where you can see that hopefully would provide support if Boeing moves down, and it's not going to go any lower. If it does, yeah, I got to go back a ways before I find any area that I'd be worried about. I probably next area is way down here at 217 roughly. So in fact, I want to put this thing right at 217. So there we go. So yeah, Boeing, you know what? Boeing, I would hope that there's topside movement. If it drops, it's probably going to do so with the market, and I'll be looking at other things. So that's how I'm looking at the levels. Hopefully it gives you an idea of what to look for in your own right. Yeah, let's see what we can do. Like John said, right? One of the things that we have to do in these markets, especially if this is not the type of market that sets up for your particular trading strategy, is know that you do not have to take a trade. Right? I liked your analogy. It's the casino's always open. It doesn't mean you got to put your money on the felt, especially if you've been drinking. So, this market can make you feel like you've been drinking sometimes. It's often better just to take a step back and say, hands off the keyboard, right? It's not setting up for me today. And yes, that can be unfortunate, right? Because you want to make a trade, you want to make money. But the reality is you're better to have a day that's sitting at zero than a negative anything. Just keep that in mind, right? So if it's really just not setting up, don't force it. Forcing it is usually, because then, you're going to force one, you'll get frustrated and you'll try another. Then you start getting into revenge mode, and that's usually when the day just goes downhill from there. And before you know it, you're at or beyond max loss, and you're like, what? I should have just done nothing. So, heed my words.
Yeah, a lot of these charts too have so if you look at PLTR and video, they have these daily candles from yesterday. They have these bottom wicks and they bought back up. It kind of has that look of like, oh, we're bottoming, and if you had no other means of assessing an entry, you might look at these charts and think like, here's the bottom, and there's some really good trades coming up and perhaps swing trades or whatever. I don't think that's really the case. I don't get that vibe. So I was just looking at these charts and thinking about new traders who might think that, they've read a trading book and it's always like on the reversal, look for this bottom wick. And, there's your signal. That's a piece of the pie, but it's certainly not everything. So just be cautious and use a stop.
All that being said, I'm saying it because I know we have so many opening range break traders, and a lot of people are looking for those big, strong upward movements. I happen to be a short bias trader, so this is the type of market that I look for. But not all of these days are good, because if we actually just start moving down and continue moving down, that's a continuation trade, and I'm a reversal trader. So while I'm short biased, I like the reversals, which means I like things to sort of pop a little bit before they drop, and then I can take advantage of that. So, I've got to remind myself the same thing. If my trades don't set up, don't take them. But if the opportunity's there, I've got to be prepared to leap in. So that's sort of where I'm setting my mind for this morning.
It's the kind of morning, everything is so red. I will tell you, as a breakout trader to the upside, breakout trader, this is exactly the kind of morning where something's going to set up like it's breaking to the upside, and then it's just not going to do it. And it's a probability thing. I'm not saying you could not take Tesla this morning as it breaks out 7 minutes after the open to go break over its high. It might run for $4 beautifully, but the probability is not in your favor. And you got to keep remembering this as a probabilistic game. And if you don't take that entry because you're playing the larger probability, what's more likely to happen, and you miss out on a trade, don't beat yourself up about that. Just say you made a smart decision. The smart thing actually was not to take it, and that'll work out over the next 100 trades. It's not about what one trade did. It's about what 100 trades did in 90 days of trading and things like that.
Great, excellent advice. And again, it's one of those that we so often ignore. So please, I hope you're listening, everyone, and paying attention. All right, I want to say, Matt, welcome to Lambos and Garbage Trucks. People are still joining the Lambos and Garbage Trucks group here on Bear Bull Traders. We love it. Again, it's just a fun name, but really it's an opportunity with some exclusive content that's coming. So yeah, stay tuned. We've got material that's going to be just for our members that have joined. And of course, we appreciate having you here. John, I'm going to throw up the... No, I'm going to put on the screen. Blah. Yeah. Our moderators watch list. I noticed that only a few of our mods are getting their listing. Does that mean people are just saying they're not going to trade today? I don't know, but if you're a Bear Bull Traders moderator, get your list in so John can let people know what they're watching. So here we go.
Let's see here. We got Thor for on the equity side, looking at Apple and Tesla on the future side. Mike, Yankee, Mike, MNQMES. Jared's looking at CoreWeave and AMD, secondary Tesla and PLTR. Jared's secondary is Megan's primary. She's looking at PLTR and Tesla. Brian has both those stocks on his list as well, PLTR, Tesla, NVIDIA, OKLO, SPY, and Qs. Brendan, PLTR, AMD, NVIDIA, and Tesla. So a lot of commonality with Tesla and PLTR. And if that many mods are interested in it, then a lot of people are interested in those stocks as well. So they'll probably be fun to trade. Again, just wait for your setup and play cautiously. I didn't put mine up there yet. I'm probably looking at PLTR and NVIDIA and Tesla.
There you go. It's one of those days where, we'd stick to the basics. It makes sense. So, all right, guys, we've got about 6.5 minutes here to the market open. So hopefully you're getting yourself ready. One of the things that I usually do, is I love before the market opens to try and take just a moment, a mindfulness moment. One of the things that one of our psychologists taught me a while back, and I find it really helps me set my mind. Of course, when we're live here on YouTube, it's harder to sit and do that. But if you're at home, it's good to sometimes mute everything, remind yourself, what are my objectives for today? What I'm trying to achieve, right? And it's not, here's how much money I want to make, right? Is it maturity? Is it the lack of impulsive actions? Is it, whatever? You should have a goal that is not directly monetarily tied. So, and that will definitely help you in your trading, whatever it is that you're looking at. So take a moment to center yourself on that. Let's get focused. Again, I think there's going to be opportunity today. I'm hopeful. I also think it's going to be a difficult day. I don't think those opportunities are going to come easy because only certain types of strategies are going to be in effect. All the rest are going to need to be watching today. So, especially in advance. Remember, we mentioned earlier when we were going through the economic calendar, we are the day before the announcement of the Jackson Hole outcomes, which again, is that going to have a huge market impact or not? No idea. But often what we see is volumes are a little lower because some of the big money will sit on the sidelines, right? Not wanting to put money in anything in it or take money out in advance of understanding what the discussion yielded at Jackson Hole. So that's a big economic conference that is going to be sort of some important outcomes. Again, 10 a.m. tomorrow is when that announcement happens. So And then today, like we'd mentioned, if we look at our economic calendar, we still have a couple of economic data points to come. 9:45, we've got the S&P manufacturing and services PMI numbers, and existing home sales is coming out at 10. Normally the market doesn't usually react to that, meaning it doesn't move one direction or another. But it depends. If they're significantly off expectations, then we very well could. But we'll see what happens. All right, we're gonna head over to the chat room to Brian. I see him getting ready. He's gearing up in there and getting ready to go. I'm sure that Andrew's going to be joining him soon, and that means that John and I. John, are you staying with me here on YouTube?
I'm going to stay with you. Yeah. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Lenny has a free webinar today on tradingterminal.com at 5 p.m. Eastern. He'll be talking about how to trade the opening range break. So actually, we've been talking about this morning and how to be cautious about it. It's a good day to maybe pump the brakes on taking that actual trade, but then at 5 o'clock tonight, 5 p.m. Eastern, go to tradingterminal.com and check out Lenny's free webinar. That's a really great opportunity. If you're on YouTube, scroll up a little bit in the chat. There's a link there to join that webinar. And then if you are in the BBT chat room, look up in the moderator comments, and it's up above the list of stocks to trade today from the different mods.
Yeah, and here it is. I literally just went to tradingterminal.com, clicked on the webinars link on the left-hand side, and here it is. So you can click on the button to join the free webinar. So, yeah, thanks for that reminder, John. Okay, everybody, we're going to get going. Chat room, have a good trading day. Hey, Brian. Hope you, good morning. Oh, and Andrew's there too. All right, we'll let you guys go. Have a good one. All right, we are here. YouTube ready. And Andrew is locked out of the office once again.
Switched all my 1-minute charts here.
And my chair is killing me. I'm going to change chairs. Hold on a sec.
Only a very accomplished man has a backup chair ready to go. No, that's not everybody, folks.
The funny thing is, John, I've got this like Aeron, very fancy chair that I've been using for years, and it's always been good. But for some reason, the last couple of years, it hurts me, and I can't sit in it for very long. So I've got this like cheap, like $50 chair here that I just go and sit on. Like it's literally one of those chairs that you would buy your kid for their first desk, knowing that they only weigh 8 pounds and will barely ever use it, and it seems to work just fine. So.
I haven't used a chair in 6 years. I stand here every day, and that has its drawbacks as well, but it's not as bad for me as sitting in a damn chair.
Yeah, it's a good point. I've tried the standing thing. I find that my knees get very creaky at the end of like 3 or 4 hours. So
yeah, it's not great. You got to stretch and move around.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anyways, that being said, let's focus on this market. What are we looking at? I don't have anything that I'm very strongly opinionated about for a directional move right at the open here. Again, Walmart interests me just because it's got good news in a bad market. So we'll have to see what it's going to choose to do. I don't have anything else that
I've got my top 12 on my screen, so I guess I can't share my screen here, but I've got 12 stocks that I'm watching, and
yeah, you should
I like
be able
to watch
share a screen.
Okay.
In Zoom, by the way, and then I might be able to bring it up here. So.
Let me try to figure that out. Where did Zoom go? Sharing. Share. Where's my screen?
I don't know. He's figuring that out. Guys, we have about 10 seconds to the market open. Whatever you're watching, remember, just don't be too eager. If you see the trade, don't be afraid to take it, but don't force it. Here's the bell.
It looks like it brings up every DOS window as an individual screen, so I can't really share my 12.
I think there's a different tab where you can click share entire screen or something.
Yeah, I'll keep looking.
Yeah. All right. So, initial couple of seconds here, we've got Nvidia and Tesla moving higher, but the market pushing down fairly aggressively. Let's see where this settles. Again, no opening setups for me, so I didn't have anything I was looking at that was grabbing my attention.
All right.
Nvidia.
I think I'm sharing it now, Peter. I think.
Yeah, I see it
God, what
there.
the?
Look, there's John's screen. So that's what he looks at in the morning. Let me see if I can get your face in there too.
God, things look slow. My candles look
Yeah.
bizarre. Zoom doesn't slow down DOS, does it?
I don't think so. All right, Nvidia's trying to go green. It looks like it's just pushing a little bit higher here. Let's see where it goes. What's wrong with my? There we go. Let's zoom in on these. You can see the candles a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm not convinced on any of these moves, frankly. So pretty quiet morning for me. I'm taking it slow because unlike the last 2 days where I was strongly bearish on PLTR, I'm not feeling the same this morning.
One thing I look at right when the market opens is what the RVOL is on the SPY, because I feel like it gives a good indication of what participation's like overall. And it's 62% at the moment, which is low. So there's probably not a lot of general market participation, but you can look at the individual stocks to get a better feel. Like PLTR is still 215. That's been elevated lately.
Huh. You got 215 on PLTR?
I do, yeah. 215, 216. I got 800 on Walmart, which is really high
I
for
only have
Walmart.
196 on PLTR. Walmart, I've got 802.
That's weird. My
Wonder
charts
if
do
it's
look a little slow. I wonder if my whole DOS has slowed down a little bit here because the candles are
maybe,
forming very strange. That's
maybe
which
your
may be
settings
delaying my.
are different. I don't know. All right. Anyways, let's see. Keep an eye on here. Nvidia did manage to get green here and is maybe it's going to hold. Let's take a look at a 1 minute chart.
So Nvidia's got yesterday's high just above here around 176. That's often a tough level to get through. So we'll see what it does there. Tesla topped out at the previous day close, which is not uncommon.
I was tempted to chase Tesla, Nvidia higher here. It's not my typical trade, but maybe I should have.
It's very much an Andrew trade.
It is. It would be. In fact, Brian's taking the trade right now. I don't think Andrew's managed to get into anything yet. He's trying to short PLTR at the moment. I think he stopped himself out at break even. All right, guys, still just watching here. This look at the cues right here. This is a warning to me, right? When you get this big damn candle right at the open, and then it sort of retraces that in the next couple of minutes, but pulls back into the range. All in all, look at it on a 5 minute chart. You can see, right? We got this candle that's just like all wick. So that I mean, we're not closed. We got another 20 seconds in this first 5 minute candle, but it looks like we're going to close this candle mostly wick, and that's telling me this market doesn't have a strong opinion about where to go yet. It could develop one, but it doesn't have one yet. Here's the close of the minute, and there you go. So
Tesla's creeping up here again. I would never take what might develop as a high a day break opportunity on Tesla here at the previous day close. That's a low probability trade there. But there it comes. Let's see if it pushes through.
All right. John's keeping an eye on Tesla. As a reminder, here's what John looks at. This is his prime screen. Where's Tesla? Oh, bottom right for you, eh? That's where Tesla sits?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And
So yeah, it
you look
looks
at
good
1 minute
actually.
charts, eh? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I changed them to 5 minutes around 10 o'clock, but I still execute on a 1 minute.
Okay.
This is
Yeah,
where I
well,
get
let's.
suckered in, Peter, because this is like the first stock, like kind of setting up the way I like. So like on a day like this, this is the thing that'll sucker me in, and I have to remember, not at previous day close. Like that's what makes it a low
Yeah.
probability trade. It's not to say it won't break here and go very cleanly higher. It could, but it's just not in the long
Right.
term a good idea.
I mean, it could go. There's a risk on it. When I look at the markets, they're still inside this sort of first candle that we set
Yeah,
on the
they're
day. So,
spying cues doing
but
nothing.
yeah, yeah. See, so they. Oh, did you
And
take
and
Tesla?
no, not yet.
Okay, good.
And if you look at Nvidia, that's also stalling at that level we mentioned yesterday's high. It's a tough level.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I really. Well, Tesla's back up here. Let's see. It's really struggling to stay green.
AMD is in the green now,
AMD.
just barely.
Yeah. Wow, look at that big initial candle on AMD.
Oh, this is some ugly Tesla moves. Yuck. Yuck.
Yeah. Well, Nvidia did decide to move a little higher here. It's
Yeah. Tesla too. Would have been a little scary there at PDC, but would not have been stopped out.
right.
Let's see. Now the pre-market high is the next tough level, and 325 are in the same location. And just because it's a $5 level, there'll be a bunch of sellers there. So that'll be another area to look at, and then we'll see. But yeah, it got through PDC easier than
Mm.
I might have expected.
Yeah, we're gonna have to ask Andrew about his prep. He's going to Burning Man again this year.
I heard.
I don't get Burning Man,
It
but
gives me anxiety just looking at pictures of Burning Man.
oh yeah, like you get a little bit of rain, it turns into a mud bowl. You get a little bit of heat, it's like bakes your brain out. Like I'm like, it's just I don't know, not my definition of fun.
Yeah, not my cup of tea either.
Then again, Andrew's the guy that likes to go up into like minus 30-degree temperatures for fun at the top of a mountain. So,
True,
yeah.
true. Got some mentions of Hood on the YouTube chat. Hood
Okay,
had a
that's not one we haven't looked at that at all this morning. Yeah, it's
uh,
up a little bit. Uh, a lot to write home about here on Hood, I don't think. Like
so I'm gonna
it's
watch Tesla now. I like the strong march up on Tesla to start the day here, and let's see if it holds PDC and wants to go break the high day now. Again, this is still a little not optimal because of that pre-market high level there, which used to be a great breakout level. I used to love when the pre-market high was near the high a day. That
right.
opinion has changed in 2025.
Ah, okay.
It's just, yeah, it's just tougher.
That's interesting, John. I mean, and that shows how you have to keep evolving your strategy. Like theoretically, your high day break strategy is extremely simple, right? Breaks high of day,
Yeah.
go long. But the
Yeah.
reality is, there's a lot of like little nuance about when should I take it, and when shouldn't you take it. And that's why I love when you give your webinars on it because it shows, how you've got it. And you do have to evolve your thinking because the market does change personality over time. Sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's massive. It's easy to see the difference between a bear and a bull market. But there's subtleties in between about how stocks move and how, transactions sort of execute. I've seen that, having day traded full time for 8 years now. My strategy largely would look the same from the outside, but the way you execute it and the way you sort of decide when to take it and when not to does absolutely evolve.
And it's really hard because I mean, I can't tell you for years, I loved when pre-market high was near the high of day.
Right.
2025 rolls around and it goes from being, I don't know the exact number, but let's say it was helpful 2/3 of the time or 70% of the time. Then suddenly it's like it's not it seems like you have a trade where it doesn't help, it hurts, it rejects there, and then you have another, it's not going to be like it's going to flip and go to like it's always rejecting there. It's just going to change from like it used to be, I don't know, useful 66-70% of the time, and now it's useful less than 50. It's hurtful, and it's really hard to judge, like, am I reacting too quickly? Because you don't want to, like we teach in boot camp, you don't want to change your trade book unnecessarily or too early. And it takes a lot of screen time and a lot of trades, unfortunately, just to kind of adjust and know when you're adjusting at the right time and not overreacting to a few bad trades, which we tend to do as traders. You get burned a couple times and it can really affect your opinion of the strategy
Yeah.
you're working.
That's a great yeah, it's a great point, John, because you're right. It's hard to know when is this actually changing and when is it just my perception or bias, like you said, because you had a couple of bad trades. It may be
Right.
nothing to do with the market. Maybe you were in a
Yep.
bad mood. Maybe you weren't focused. Who knows? But it is tough to figure out. Is it me or has the market actually changed? The analogy I like to use is it's sort of like tides, right? Usually by the time you tell, can you tell when the tide's going out and when the tide's going in? Well, you
Yeah.
can after it's been going out or going in for a while. But can you actually figure out when that moment changes, when the tide goes from going out to going in? Virtually nobody can, right? It's
Right.
very difficult. So you got to think about the markets that way, right? It's that ebb and flow, and like you say, don't react too quickly, but know that there is, the tide moving in, the tide moving out, happening on a regular basis.
That's a great analogy, and probably because I spent so much time at the beach this summer. But yeah, it's exactly what everyone does. Like, is this high tide? Is it still coming up, or is it going back
Right,
down? You can't even tell, but you can tell 4 hours later. Like, oh yeah, it went down.
exactly. So when the waves are lapping at your beach towel, you're like, oh, tide's definitely coming in.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I'm doing the right thing today. I expected this is not going to be a day to jump into trades, and honestly, there's not even a setup yet, really. Except maybe I could have argued
Well,
Tesla
and
and Nvidia.
yeah, and I've kept Tesla on the screen here, like you were talking about, right? It set that high of day. It was looking at a potential retest and then failed. Sort of what is the biggest candle of the day so far, at least on a 1 minute chart, as it pulled down. It's coming back up again now, but like you say, I don't see any strong price action. I mean, even Nvidia, which was moving higher earlier, did do a little bit of a pullback from the high. So I have no trades yet. Neither does John out there. I hope you're playing it smart as well. Let us know how your trading is going, if you take it any, and how that's worked for you.
Here's Google near the high of day. It's the same problem Nvidia had. The high of day is setting up at the previous day high. It's a low probability level to mess with, so I'll leave that alone as well. Um,
You
but
guys watch?
there are opportunities here. I mean, Nvidia set a high and pulled back. Tesla set a high and pulled back. So these are actually good things. These are the beginnings of trades that may take another half hour to develop. But now we have some patterns that might help.
This is weird. For everybody out there on YouTube, on Google, I've got the high of day marked. It's a pink dotted line. It's the top line on this chart here. It looks gray to me. Is it gray on YouTube? Is it just showing up? That's weird. Why does it
Yeah, it
change
looks
the
gray.
color? It does look gray. It's very pink on my screen here. Oh, there it is.
Hmm.
Now it just snapped in pink. Look at
Now it's
that.
pink. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay. I don't. Anyways, how odd. That's Graphics rendering. It's not always exact.
Also, one thing that really makes a high day break trade extremely easy is when the market's ripping higher. And I use the analogy of the tide for that as well. You might as well swim with the tide, right? It's just easier. And there's nothing going on in the market right now that says I'm screaming higher. I'm gonna pull a stock
Oh
up too. And
no,
in fact, yeah, it's doing
it's
the opposite
screaming
right
lower
now.
right now. Look at this
Yeah.
big pull down in the last 30 seconds. 9:45 is when we did have the S&P manufacturing and services PMI numbers come out.
Oh,
Let's take
that's
a
right. Yeah.
look and see what they say. Are they off? They're a little bit higher than expected, so they came out a little bit bullish. Both the manufacturing and the services are higher than anticipated. Not, I mean, by a couple percent. Nothing huge. I don't know why that would cause the market to dump.
I got manufacturing PMI at 53.3, expected 49.7. That's
Yep.
not a big, that's a fairly good size discrepancy or no?
I mean, remember this is like survey-based data, right? So,
Oh,
I
yeah.
when I guess but you're right. I mean, that's 4 points. But if you look at, do I have the history here? Sometimes I can get a history chart. If I remember this correctly, if you look back at the history, it's often out by a couple of points. So, even in their own description of this indicator, they basically just say that anything above 50 indicates contraction, anything below 50 indicates expansion. So, for them to have set the number at 49.7, they were hedging their bets by putting it just below 50. So, the fact that it came out above 50 does suggest a contracting market. It does feel like the market, well, reacted strongly to it, anyways, one way or the other. So, it's
One of the useful aspects of watching 12 stocks at one time. I know a lot of people think it looks overwhelming, but you really get a good sense of correlation and how everything, well, if everything is kind of reacting to what the market does. So when the SPY or the Qs drop like that on news or something, and you look at the 12 stocks, just with your eyeball, you can kind of see like, oh wow, basically every one of these 12 charts is going down as well. You get the
right.
idea that none of these stocks have a real independent behavior. None of them are strong enough to perhaps just buck off, that the news or the candle from the SPY. And that's more information as well. It's not that you can't trade on a day when things are very correlated with what the market's doing, but again, watch what the market's doing and don't trade against it in that case.
Yeah. For me, this is the type of market where I can get hurt badly because look at that, sudden big move down, and now we've pretty much retraced all of it. And this is where, you get stuck chasing this, right? Let's say you got short halfway or two-thirds of the way through this move, and then suddenly, next thing you know, it's back up against you, right? And you're hoping, well, maybe it'll reverse again, and who knows, this thing could push higher and stick you with it. I really am not seeing anything I love. And the problem is this type of market also doesn't set up for my later moves, right? Because I need move away from this average price, away from the VWAP. Then I can take a reversal. So if we just keep doing this chop around the averages, that's not giving me much opportunity. So as much as I said I was hoping for a good day, you know, it may be a no trade day. Who knows? They happen. I don't get very many of those. Someone was asking me the other day, well, how many do you see in a year? They do happen. Almost every day I find trade opportunities. But it does happen. Maybe, once a month, I would say there'll be a day where legitimately there was just nothing to trade for me. Absolutely nothing. Now, that being said, there are more than that in terms of days where I don't trade because I may not be watching the right thing. But there are, I would say maybe once a month where there was nothing. Legitimately, I didn't miss it. It wasn't that I was not paying attention. There was nothing to trade.
Yeah, my days with no trades would be even more rare. It's there's pretty much always something to try, but there's definitely days that really spoke to me and said you shouldn't have done that. So
Ah,
there's that as well.
yeah, there's those too, right? And sometimes those could be the same day, where if you look at it sort of after the fact, you're like, there was nothing to trade, but yet I did
Yeah,
trade. No
I
wonder I'm
guess
red.
there's a mixture of true opportunity and then mentality or psychology involved there, but
Right.
there's usually a high day break worthy of taking. Honestly, on a day like this, when the 12 stocks aren't doing anything particular, is when I start drifting around and looking like what was in play. Maybe is something moving midday that's interesting, and I might take a stab at something that I wasn't expecting from the pre-market show.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Well,
Someone asked in the YouTube chat about what are the 12 stocks. They're a lot of tech stocks. So Microsoft, AMD, Apple, Amazon, Coin, PLTR, Meta, Google, Nvidia, Tesla. And then I have two on here that I'm not really wed to very much. Intel and CRCL are on my top 12 at the moment, but I kind of always have one or two rotational spots. And honestly, I have no intention of trading Intel. And so that needs to be replaced with something. And CRCL is kind of dying out too. So um, might slide something else back into those two slots. But it's a lot of tech stock, a lot of tech stuff,
and I've
which
got
means
this
a
up
lot of
on the
it's
screen.
correlated, to be honest. It's not as much anymore, Peter, but remember the days when Nvidia and AMD would just do the same thing, like
Yep.
penny to penny. Almost. You don't see that quite as much these days,
No.
um, but but sometimes.
Yeah. No,
Coin
even
is
if you look at the, I mean, I see on your screen there, even if you look at the charts of AMD and Nvidia, they've roughly done the same thing, but the charts don't look identical. But there were many a time, you're absolutely right, John, where you could literally overlay those charts and then overlay that with the cues, and they would all just, it would be the same chart. Like if I took the name off it, you would never be able to tell me which is which.
yeah.
Uh,
Seemed like it was in the earlier days of all the AI hype when I guess people thought AMD would get a bigger chunk of this whole pie, and
yeah.
then it became evident that maybe it wasn't really what their product did as
No.
well.
So yeah, and I guess they've been taking advantage. Their prices have gone up. So I was looking yesterday for a new PC because running this show, my PC is running at like 100% capacity, right? Like to run the what we need to do this show, it's like exhausting all of the resources my computer has available. And my computer's a good one. I bought it. It's a gaming, rig specifically designed, and it does everything else I need just fine. It's about 5 years old now, so I thought, oh, let me take a look. When I bought this one. It was $2,600, top of the line at the time. Equivalent to get an equivalent, just one or two versions off a top of the line right now, 8 grand.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I'm
Why?
like that. That is like 3 times the price. So is it a
Everything is so much
Falcon?
more
No, I
expensive.
I actually went with it. It's a Dell Alienware. So
I'll have to suggest to you the company I use, and I can't remember the name of them, so I'll find it for you. But they allegedly make orbital computers. They make like allegedly trading computers. Trading computers are just computers that run a lot of monitors and well, mostly that. It's easy to plug a lot of monitors in them, but they're nice because they come so stripped. Like when you get it, there's no bloatware at all. And this is not an advertisement. It's just happened to be where I bought my computer from. But you might want to check out Orbital. Good customer service, smaller company.
do they ship to Canada? That's the thing I wanted to
Oh,
know.
I'll drive it up to you.
Will you? I can meet you at the border. We'll get
Yeah,
some exchange.
that won't look suspicious.
I'd have to get you to come to this side of the border because I can't. I can't take my car into the U.S.
Why not?
Well, it's the dealer loaner. They
Right.
specifically told me I'm not allowed to leave the country in it.
So their full package, so-called computer,
Oh,
is $2,200. Yeah, it might be worth checking out. It's certainly a lot less than 8 grand.
I see. Yeah, I see this. Their trader bundle here. Up to 12 monitors. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Wow, that's a lot cheaper. I'd have to max out the RAM and stuff.
Yeah, when I bought mine, I needed a couple cables to hook it up to the monitors, and I wrote to the company, and some dude just wrote me back on email, like with two Amazon links. He's like, "Here you go, bro. This is what you need." I was like, "This is the kind of customer service I love."
There
That was easy. Like, thanks, Josh.
you go. Oh, look at this. Customize and buy. I like it.
Do they ship to Canada? I guess you might not know that
I
yet.
don't know. I haven't got that far yet.
They're located in New York, I believe.
Sound deadening side panel. That's what I want. I want to deaden the sound. Are you one? When I buy computers, people love like the glass windows and they want to see lights, and I don't. I could care less.
No, I bought their bottom tier computer, and the only problem it had was it had a fan that people complained about for like a year and a half. And I don't know if you recall when I first became a moderator, like everyone was like, "What is that whining sound?" And I had to eventually. I'm not a big computer modifying guy, but I had to. I contacted them again. I'm like, "Hey, they're like, well, you got the basic ass cheap fan with the cheapest computer you bought." So they told me what to buy, and I got a $40 fan on Amazon, popped it in, and it's quiet as a mouse now.
Oh, look at this! I can get 256 gigs of RAM. RAM
There you
this
go.
thing up. Let's see. Let's mega configure this. I need supports 8 full HD monitors. That's what I want.
For you folks on YouTube, I still see nothing to trade. And I apologize. This is a dull morning. I know for watching someone take trades, but I'm not gonna take anything unless it sets up. It's just how it's got to be. So and at this point, it's like I'm starting to wonder if there'll be a trade today. Have faith, John. These are not good looking charts for me.
It doesn't come with a Wi-Fi adapter. Whoa.
Yeah, mine did not either. But I'm plugged in. I'm hardwired into my modem router thingy. I bet they could pop in a Wi-Fi
Yeah, it's one of the
thing for
options
you.
here. So, oh, here we go. Get the upgraded fan,
Yeah, get that.
advanced fan tuning. Let's do that.
The LTR getting a bit of a pop here, trying to get up to previous day close. Somebody in YouTube also mentioned Falcon computers. I'm not familiar, but that might be something worth checking out as well.
They only ship to the 48 contiguous U.S. states.
Oh.
Oh, look! With my configurations, it comes to 4,500 bucks. That's
I seriously want to drive it up
mega
to you now.
configured. That's a lot cheaper than what I'd get equivalent somewhere else.
You should call them and see if they can't work out a Canadian shipment. They might work with you, especially if you're getting one that's loaded, like a lot of extras.
Wow, 4,500 US though. What is that Canadian? Coming close. 4,556 times 66,000 bucks. We're close, but this is better, more configured than. Doesn't say what the video card is. Oh, RTX A1000.
Got another person mentioning Falcon computers as well. I will say about my orbital computer though, it's 6 years old at this point, and it really runs well still. And I mean, computers are computers, but I do attribute some of that to like how clean it comes originally with there's no McAfee, no bull crap on it when you get it. It's so nice. The desktop is just empty. It's the way every computer should be.
Mhm. Guys, I am keeping an eye on things here. AMD I see is at low of day. It's one of the few things that does seem to have picked a direction and is moving lower. Nvidia just made through the low of day. Let's show you Nvidia.
Tesla
Hasn't
just
made it
lost
through the
320.
pre-market low.
Yeah. Nvidia and Tesla both coming up to the pre-market low. We'll see who gets there first. PLTR just tagged pre-market low.
Yeah. LTR is looking a little choppier so far. I like the look of AMD here.
Oh, housing data just came out here.
Oh yeah, it's the 10 a.m. data. Yep, absolutely. Uh, what does that look like?
Existing home sales 4.01 million, expected 3.92. So a little higher on sales than expected.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go.
What does that mean?
That's exactly what I see as well.
Houses are still selling like hotcakes on my street. I know that. It does
Are
not
they?
take long. Oh yeah,
Oh
they go
wow.
quick.
Okay. I remember asking this question before. Is a hotcake actually a pancake or is it something different?
Hotcake. I don't know.
Yeah.
It sounds
Why
like.
do hotcakes sell so fast? What is a
Oh
hotcake?
right, yeah, it's selling like hotcakes. I think they're like little pancakes. I think what a hotcake is.
Is it? Okay. I don't know. It's an honest question.
If they're smaller, they'd sell. They do better volume, right?
Yeah,
So if
and
they're
Jonathan and guys, you're right. I don't need you don't need advanced graphics for trading. In fact, trading data is very basic, right? Especially if you use like a DOS platform. Let's face it, this thing was core developed back in the '90s, and the graphics are pretty simple, right? It doesn't use lots of advanced rendering. In my case, to be able to deliver the show to you and to talk to you right now, that's where I need a lot of heavy graphics processing. You'd be amazed at how much these editing tools and the multimedia sharing tools, they just suck power and sort of need a lot of compute. So that's really why we use them here, right? To be able to share with you.
Peter, I just took an entry on Google for the high
Okay.
day break. The market's breaking out over its high of day, and it's the third visit for Google to the yesterday high level.
Okay.
So the more times it does visits, kind of the better. The volume was increasing a little bit, so I'm in it, but
Let's
I'm ready
see if I
to
can
get out.
get your screen here.
It's the bottom row, second from the left there, and I'm
Yeah, I
not
see
up
it.
a heck of a lot. Yeah, I'm barely above my entry. I'm in at 201.21, and I really needed to get up to 201.50, get up around that $0.50 level. Yeah, now it's not doing well. Uh, tricky, tricky, tricky.
And
Oh, I
thanks,
don't like.
guys, for the suggestions on the computers. Jonathan, I owned a company that we used to build computers, but that's 30 years ago, and I just tired. I'd rather someone else do it. I'm lazy. Maybe is a better way to put it.
I looked into building my own, and I figure it is probably not as hard as people think. But I was like, there's going to be something that hangs me up, and that's going to really tick me off. So
Yeah, well, nowadays things are much more plug and play than they used to. But just configuring the drivers and making sure you've got the right updates for me it was worth paying someone to do it just so that I don't have to deal with that.
I'm going to get out of Google here. It's not going. Um, and the market kind of still is, and it's not pulling me through that yesterday's high. So I'm going to take a little small loss on Google, but just get out of that.
Okay. He hit the abort.
It's a tough one to judge. I can't tell what the SPY and the Qs are doing here. If this was a false breakout, if they're going to continue higher. If they do continue, it'll probably pull Google up over my entry and have it keep going. But the taking it at the previous day high is a little risky. So I don't want to be hanging out there.
That's fair. Sometimes it is hard to say. I mean, this thing could pop. Google looks like it wants to pop higher, but I don't know. I'm not an expert on these trades, so I just know it's not my setup. Yeah, not my Boeing didn't do much this morning. PLTR has gone green again, but still doesn't look great. Boy, AMD really came roaring back from the low. Where's AMD here?
Yeah, Nvidia's back in the green. Tesla's come up a good amount.
Yeah. Nvidia is right on that edge, green red, so it's playing with it. Keep an eye on Google here. I'm now curious to see what it's going to do.
As am I.
I bet.
Once I exit with a little bit of a loss, I can tell you where it's probably going.
Oh well. Do you ever sort of jump back in if you see the move setting up again?
Yeah, sometimes, but not in this case, no. But I'd like to see a bit of a pullback and then a run right back up to that place where I was entered. And there's nothing like that. But there it goes, 201.50. So it did get going. If I had kept in this trade, I would probably throw my stop at break even at this point around 201.21, which was my entry. And I'd hope I'd call it the prayer hands method, and then I say, please go higher and don't come back to my break even entry. But I really like to get into a risk-free trade. So once I get what I call just kind of a decent appreciable move, I'll move my stop to break even and then see if you can get the miracle to work out. 201.52 is the high now. So the funny thing in trading is dollar levels and half dollar levels really matter. It's where buyers and sellers pile up, and it's where stocks tend to hang up or reverse, resist support. And that's kind of showing some of that now. It's one of my favorite things about trading because so much of this is so unpredictable and so hard to figure out what's going on. But I do like the predictability of buyers and sellers at least piling up at dollar levels. It's like, thank you for doing that. It does make things a bit easier.
Thank you for telling me where you have an interest.
Yeah. Thanks for making round numbers matter. Yeah, it's still not really going. And the SPY and the Qs, again, after breaking high, they're both holding above the previous high, but they're just kind of going sideways. It's a good time to watch the correlation, though. If you are watching Google, just pull up a SPY or a QQQ chart, put it on a 1-minute chart, pull up a 1 minute of Google, and watch as a SPY candle goes, it puts in a strong candle, watch if Google responds strongly and vice versa. Because that correlation is a lot of information in trading. Something to watch for sure.
All right, let's do that here. We'll put these on the same basis. We'll see how correlated these end up being. I have got this weird thing with DOS. I don't understand why it does this. Where I cannot put anything towards the top of my screen. It always bounces down. No matter, I can't stretch it to the top like inch of my screen.
That's weird.
Just look at that.
I bet that's not DOS. I wonder if that's something particular to your. I don't know.
It must be because it started roughly around the time I made the last Windows update, and I don't know if there's a setting or something. I have no idea what's going on. it's just weird.
I'm such a bad person. I have not updated to Windows 11 yet. I'm still on 10. I probably shouldn't mention that. Don't hack me.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. It's like the worst thing to say on YouTube.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, it's something I need to. Actually, I take it back. I'm on 11 and everything's tight. Got a really good cybersecurity firm in my back pocket, so don't mess with me.
Michael Anderson, you get that too? Look, I have no idea why then. Okay, so it's not just me. There's got to be some reason for that. And maybe I need to update. What version of DOS are you on? Because I don't think. Yeah, I'm still on the old version that was last updated in January of 2023. So maybe I should update. Had a couple of revisions since then. Mine is here you go. This is my version that I'm sitting on. 5.7.5.6. So
Yeah, I'm on 5.8.0.8.
yeah.
That would be a big problem for me if I couldn't get my Windows, like because of putting 12 charts on one screen, obviously,
Right. Well,
that would.
the funny thing is, if I open a fixed something that I had previously set up, they'll be fine. They'll go right to the edges. But the second you move them, you'll never get them back there. So don't
Yeah.
touch anything. So yeah, I got to be very careful and make sure my configurations are saved. And the second things usually move from where they were supposed to be. I'm like, reload, start over. So yeah, it's quite annoying.
There's a question there about trading terminal funded accounts.
Yeah,
Andrew.
absolutely, Brian. He has paid individuals, and sometimes it's a full amount, or others it's partial, depending on how much they make. Meaning that if they didn't make the full capability, he'll pay whatever your profit level is. So yeah, he's paid quite a number of people. It's real. He's not. This is not a bait and switch, or he's not messing with you. He really wants to encourage people to learn to trade maturely over time. And if you pay for that funded account and make money in it, again, there's some rules because we want to make sure people just don't take like one big risk trade and make a bunch of money and then do nothing for 3 months. Right, so there's just rules. It's really just to make sure people aren't gaming the system, right? They're really not onerous. It's just about taking a certain number of trades over a period of time. He doesn't allow low float trading. But if you check those rules out and it makes sense to you, you absolutely can get paid on those accounts. So
I think we have our beta users starting on Monday, I think is the goal. And though that it will be a beta experiment. So if you happen to be in on that, there may be some bugs. So just roll with the punches.
Matthew, that's a good question. You can do swing trades on trading terminal. If you're asking if you can do swing trades within the funded account structure, that I'm not sure about. I'm not sure if he allows holding overnight.
No, you cannot. They will. Your trades will close at 4 o'clock. If you don't close them, they will become closed.
Okay. But he has been putting updates in there so that you can hold positions overnight, so for multiple days in trading terminal. But that would not qualify you for the funded account because it's really meant for a short-term day trading approach. But all right, Drew 8, good luck. PLTR, you're asking short here. Let's see what PLTR is doing. Yeah, I don't know. Doesn't particularly look short. It looks very uncertain. It's a coin toss as to what it's going to do. And John, to what you were saying, Google is now looking increasingly SPY correlated.
Yeah,
it does.
It does. Yeah, it's slowly getting higher, but this would be an anxiety-induced trade if I had been in this. But at least I'd be above.
So now that you got out, you said you got out at a small loss. Is it one that you wish you were in, or are you sort of happy with the decision?
No, I'm fine. The way this is crawling upward, it's not like I missed an obvious like volume step up or some pattern. No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you just got to roll with that first red trade sometimes. Just it's fine, just wait for something else. But no, as I look at this, I really don't regret this at all.
Yeah, good.
I may even regret taking it. I'm not sure it was the best setup. I may be getting some YouTube performance. problems.
And
I
that's
want
fair. You do feel pressure, right, to try and take a trade. I mean, we want to show you guys, what trading looks like and how you can do it well. But, I guess part of that is also demonstrating when there is nothing that meets your criteria just to sit on your hands. It's just
Now
not
this
as
will be interesting
interesting.
because the SPY has not really come down. The Qs are dropping a bit here, but Google's coming down. Essentially, it's at my old entry now. So
Right.
I never really went high enough to take profit. So
Okay.
I definitely would have been out now because I wouldn't have taken that much of a move and then let it come back below my original entry. I would have been out of the trade break even now
Right.
anyway. But it'll be interesting to see if it kind of holds around here because this is the previous high. And just below yesterday's high, but I honestly it's losing it pretty quick here. Before I could get the words out of my mouth, it kind of didn't do it.
Shri, you're asking, the premium plan on trading terminal. What is the trading limit or volume it allows? I don't know the answer to that, so I don't want to give you the wrong information. Oh, Andrew's here. Good. He can help you out.
Is she talking about a funded account? Like what will be the limit on trades?
I don't know. I mean, usually there's
Or
no upward limit on trades. You can take as many trades as you want.
yeah.
Um, again, there's restrictions on what you can trade. Like, you can't trade penny stocks all day. But again, I don't want to venture too deep in that tree. Again, if you can maybe be more specific on what you're asking. Again, Andrew seems to be monitoring this, so he can help with some of the answers.
Question from G-Man. Where'd it go? He's asking how much do you and I risk per trade? So G-Man, the way I trade is it's kind of like time based and very situation based on whether I stay in the trade or get out. But what essentially I enter a trade with a maximum loss of $200. So I'm not willing to risk more than $200 on a trade. And I really don't want to lose 200, trust me. But I get into the trade like Google and I watch it play out and I decide, am I seeing? Like, do I like what I'm seeing or do I not? And then oftentimes I just opt to get out of the trade. I got out of Google losing $114. So about half of what would be the maximum acceptable loss. So I'm not the kind of person who puts a stop and says the stop on this Google trade is here and come hell or high water, we're either going to target or I'm getting stopped out. It's a very situation based decision. It's based on time. It's based on how the volume's coming in. It's based on what the spy's doing at the time, perhaps. And it's not always right. That's for sure. So sometimes
Yeah.
I get out and it takes off, and that's just part of trading.
Yeah.
But but that's
I
a very I'm giving you like a money answer, and that's irrelevant to somebody who has a $5,000 account. I wouldn't recommend you use a
right.
$200 loss. That would make no sense at all. So
Yeah. But my actually answer is similar. I mean, I have also a $200 trade loss limit, which means I'm trying to make about $400 on each trade that I take. That's my target. Obviously, more is better. Like that PLTR trade that I had on Tuesday. I mean, I think that was like a 6R trade for me, or seven, maybe something like that. I think it was around $1,400 or $1,500. What would that be? 7.5 times the return. So. I've been stuck there for a long period of time. I really, by now, should have increased that to probably a lot more. But I've got really comfortable there. And because I'm not using that money necessarily to live off of, I haven't pushed it because I've tried in the past to increase it and then it messes with my psychology. And I found that I haven't traded effectively. So I just put it where I'm comfortable.
it's kind of funny, Peter. I feel the same way. Like over the years, I've been like, why have I not increased that? And
right.
but there's a comfort with knowing how much you could potentially make or lose, and you kind of get, I don't know, it's kind of weird. You think you can just double everything,
Right.
but
Like
it
in
doesn't
theory,
quite.
yeah.
Yeah.
In theory, you should just be, we should be able to go from 200 to $1,000, no problem. You just multiply it by 5, as long as your account can support it. It should be easy, but your brain does weird things. If you're used to seeing, it's a warning sign if you're negative $100 on your trade, for example, John, and you start to think about getting out. Imagine if that number was now minus $500 or $600, right? Like your brain would start to be like, this is not comfortable, and then you might change your decision model, which then affects the whole trading basis on which, you're trying to make that money. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a funny
And
thing.
Pretty Bird is asking, is my R to R 2 to 1? I consider a trade successful if I make um, usually between $200 and $400, which means a $200 winner is kind of you might think it's a 1 to 1 trade because I'm risking the 200. But what happens is over time, because I don't always take the $200 loss, like I just took 114 as a loss on Google, the average kind of comes out around $70 or something like that. It fluctuates, but maybe $60 to $80 is the average loss, which makes a $200 winner kind of like a 3R trade against the long-term average. It's a little weird. It doesn't quite jive exactly as nicely as it does when you just
Yeah.
hold your stop. But
John
that's kind of the
doesn't
goal.
John doesn't have these standard math, but that's fine, right? It's just how he's defined his trading strategy, and yeah,
But I'll tell
it
you, if I get
works.
a killer trade, Peter, I get one that really runs and I add to and it keeps going, and they tend to cap out around $700. Like I don't tend to do better than
Hmm.
that. Um,
Yeah,
it-
I would
so
say that's usually my big trade. Again, that PLTR one I had earlier this week was a great trade because it just ran, right. I was expecting to get $2. I was hoping to get $2, and it moved 10. So it's rare that you get those things, but you got to sort of take advantage of it when you can. So.
I aggressively partial too. I take 50% partials, which is gonna
Mm.
it eats very quickly in the buying power.
Yeah.
Um, so what happens to me is if I get a great trade, say I buy 400 shares of a stock and I take a 50% partial and a 50%, that takes me down to 200 shares, then 100, and then I take another, it takes me down to 50 shares. Now I got 50 shares of a stock I originally took 400 of. It's not a lot of shares to make any more money, so I might add into the trade and add maybe I double it and get back to 100, but now I'm at 100 shares, whereas my initial position was still 400. I'm only at 25% of my initial position, even doing a successful ad. Um,
Right.
so it's like because of the way I partial, the potential diminishes and it's hard to get back to something like I couldn't get back to the original position size very easily. That'd be very rare.
Yeah. I find the same way. I'm never back to my original position size. I usually just add enough to move my stop to a place that I'm comfortable with. I got a little manual calculator I use that helps me figure out how many shares to add to bring me to wherever
I
my
do the
stop
same.
point
Yeah,
is.
I've got a spreadsheet calculator,
Yeah.
and sometimes you kind of know. Like I'd say I take 200 shares of Tesla, and I get down to like often on a really great trade, I'll end up with like 13 shares left. That's not enough shares. I mean, even if it goes up another $3, what am I up another $40? That's chump change compared to what I was originally making in the trade. So what you can do is you can kind of try to add back in big, instead of doubling from 13 to 26 shares, like I try to go from 13 to 40 shares or 50. But what that's going to do is bring my average cost very close to where the current price is. And then the probability of getting stopped out is much higher. So it's a fun little game of adding. I really enjoy adding to trades because it's a very interesting game of like, how much can I add to keep to gain more in this trade without getting too close to the current price action to get kind of stopped out too easily.
Yeah. Now here's an interesting question I find from you're just asking about this stock here, Mohammed. Hood double top. So I'm not sure which double top you're talking about. If you're talking about this high of day compared to this high of day that it set, so the one at 9:38 versus the one at 10:12, technically, by some people's estimate, that would be a double top high of day. I will tell you that is not what I would consider a double top high of day, because the second a stock pulls back through the VWAP and or the previous day close, in this case it pulled back between two, I start over again. All right, so I wouldn't consider this high of day related to this high of day because it moved back through both the VWAP and the previous day close. That's just the way I look at it. Many others would tell me I'm completely wrong and that's a dumb thing to do, but based on my strategies and what I'm looking for, I would measure that. Now, if we just want to zoom in here and you say, well, double top here at 10.13 versus this top at 10.18, that actually fits my strategy more, but I don't see any volume signature to say this is a strong top. So while it could potentially be considered a double top just here in this limited range, it's not a strong one because there's not enough volume to tell me this thing is going to then fall off weekly, or volume that was pushing it higher that it's going to go. So basically, I don't know what it's going to do. So I'm not sure if that really helps you, but it gives you an idea of how I look at stocks anyways, and the hood high of day.
So here's a funny thing that happened. Normally, I'm a little thrown off because I'm on YouTube and I'm forgetting to do some stuff I usually do. Normally, about 10 or 15 minutes after the open, I would have thrown alerts on all the stocks that are below their high of day. So I would know if they're approaching. Now, Microsoft actually broke its high very nicely. I don't think I would have taken that trade, but I should have had an alert go off to let me know it was even approaching. So I just went and set alerts on everything. And we'll start to see if these will start going off. I'll turn my headset up a little bit, actually, and then if they go off, you guys might actually hear them in my headset. Sometimes they come through.
We're going to get to hear it as it resonates through John's skull.
Sometimes that works. Yeah. Craig asked a question about what we bought as an initial computer. I bought this Orbital trading computer, which, again, Peter was looking at the website. It's Orbital, and I'm not selling these. But it's orbitalcomputers.com. I got their cheapest trading computer back in the day, which they still have obviously a cheapest one. And that's what I got. And it supported 3 monitors, and I bought 3 cheap monitors and I plugged it all together, and I still have the entire setup to this day. That's what I have.
Yeah. My first trading computer, the very first one that I still have it sitting under my desk as a backup. I bought like an aftermarket. There's a local guy that refurbishes servers that comes out of the tech companies. We've got like a mini Silicon Valley here with the Canadian tech companies. The guy buys old servers from them. So I bought like a 7-year-old server at the time. It would now be, I don't know, 15 years old. And then I just went to Best Buy and bought an upgraded graphics card, popped it in myself, and a pair of graphics cards actually, because I needed multi-monitor support, and was running that until I bought this Alienware. So I went from, pseudo building it myself from this old server that was, repurposed. There was like a CAD. It was an original CAD server. I upgraded the memory, the RAM in it too, to just saying, I want someone to build it for me. So I went right to Dell and say, here, talk to one of the reps and said I need a dual, because I've got dual AMD video cards in this, which was not a custom. It was a custom config out of Dell and their Alienware group. But, so yeah,
Sean's asking, but oh, sorry, go ahead, Peter.
You can pretty much do anything. Like my trading laptop here happens to also be a Dell. It's a Dell. It's their gaming series, their G, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called. Their G15. Anyways, gaming laptop. It's got a external or separate video card, so you can see the big fans on the back of it, which of course also means that I got big fans here, and the power supply is massive. If I was to do it again, I probably wouldn't buy this thing. I didn't buy it for weight, and when you travel a lot, this thing is heavy to carry around. So, but it gives me all the graphics support I need. So it's
higher PLT for last greater equal 156.85.
There you go.
There you go. PLTR. Did that alert come through my headset?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, PLTR is approaching the high of day here. I like Tesla more, but that might be my bias in loving to trade Tesla. But I'm watching that. Still have an alert set there. Sean, or somebody asked, Craig asked about like keyboards and peripherals. I have the cheapest stuff, and it's kind of a point of pride. Like this keyboard costs $20, and it's lasted for years. My mouse is an HP wired piece of junk $7 mouse, and I love the way it feels, the click of the button. I can't have anything else. I got a nicer mouse once, and the way the button clicked after years of trading and taking trades with my old mouse, I got rid of it immediately.
Oh, there you go. I used the real cheap mouse for a long period of time. I use this mouse now. You can see it's like a little bit of a weird shape. But instead of having to hold your hand like this all day, you could just leave your hand naturally, sort of like that, with the side of your hand on the table. So it just fits nicely. I like it. supposed to relieve carpal tunnel, but it's cheap. Like this is a wired mouse. It cost me like $30 or something. And like you point out, John, like sometimes the cheap is best because I've got two backups that sit here. One thing I would advise if you're trading, if you're going to be trading a lot, wire as much as you can, especially if you're using a desktop type scenario. People love to go wireless. Don't take the risk. Now you got batteries. Now you got wireless signal to worry about. The last thing you need when you're taking a trade is worrying about whether your click worked or your mouse jumped because of the wireless signal or the batteries starting to fade on you. So that's be my opinion. Even when I travel, I have a wireless mouse, but generally when I'm trading, I plug in a wired one just to avoid that risk.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I have a bunch of wired stuff because I read Andrew's book when I started trading, and he said to use wired equipment. And I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah. The wireless signals, of course, got a lot better where you don't get as much interrupts and overlaps, but I still, I see no reason to.
I just got slammed on PLTR, folks. I got to.
Oh, Jesus.
I just got wrecked. So that's a full loss. That didn't see that coming.
Wow.
Them's are the punches, folks. Sometimes that happens. This is why you just have to get out.
Where's your PLTR chart?
It's in the middle row there.
Middle.
Yeah. I got thumped, and that's a little bit more than a $200 loss too. Unfortunately, it's about 240. So I that is a thumping. So the best lesson here is get the hell out, when it's not working, because I don't know what's going on here with PLTR, but that is a very, very nasty candle. It just dropped about $2 in a heartbeat. So,
well, especially if I look at where you got in and where you got out, if you just, gritted your teeth and held on to this, that would have been $1,000 loss or something, wouldn't it?
right, exactly. Yeah. And I got to be honest, it's kind of interesting this happened. That is a bizarre pullback from the high of day. That's a little strong, to say the least. But yeah, if that's 240, 250, that's another 500, 7. Yeah, you'd be approaching $1,000 in less, not even a minute, Peter. It's a minute candle, but that happened way faster.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can see it actually closed higher than that low wick. And look, I mean, if you even decided to hang on, it's heading back there. So, anyways, good lesson in that. Unfortunately, you paid for the lesson, John. But
yeah, but you do grit your teeth. You do grit your teeth sometimes. You do, and you're like, well, if it dropped that fast, it'll go back up as fast. Now I'd be well over $1,000 loss. Now I'd probably be 1,250 or something. So it's just a lesson in, man, you got to get the hell out, because these trades, I've done it. Full honesty, folks.
Yep,
I have held on to high day break trades that were not working. They went below my max loss, and I just held and held. And I'm telling you, some of them went down the rest of the day. And what should have been a $200 loss I'm embarrassed to say how big some of them have gotten when I was not as disciplined. But
right.
These are tough lessons to learn over time. It's not, you're not going to get burned once and learn either. It's going to take a few times. It's like a building lesson over time. But please get out, take your loss. You can make up losses. You can, but you can't make up the bag hold. Those will kill you. I like to ask people sometime, what's your bag hold stock? If you're an honest trader, you'll tell me what are you holding? What's your garbage stock that you still have that is down so far that you don't even know what to do with it? Mine's Peloton. Still have it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get some friends joining us. It is that time. It's 10:30 already. John, this has been great. I found the time is just flown by here.
This is fun. I like the great questions. I like talking about just not necessarily strategy stuff all the time either. Just like, what computer did you buy?
All right.
These are good questions. And so if you're out there, we got 800 people watching allegedly. Some of you might be asleep, but ask. It's the beginners should be flooding with the questions. The question you're afraid to ask because you think everyone knows it already and you're embarrassed. That's exactly the question to ask, because there's 50 other people on here like, oh, you know what? I wanted to ask about buying a computer too.
100%. That's exactly it.
When I joined Bearable Traders, I was afraid to ask what R meant. And the very first day I'm in the chat room and everyone's like, I got a 2R trade and whatever. And I'm like, what is R? Like, what are you talking about? For 2 weeks, I just sat there in silence, like someone's going to explain it eventually, but I'm not asking.
Everybody's always afraid of looking like the idiot, right? And
Yeah.
like you said, usually those are the if you're wondering, there's a dozen other people who would love to have the answer. So, anyways, I always tell the story. I'll tell it one more time. When I started at Nortel Networks, right, premier tech company, I was coming out of entertainment industry into tech. Very intimidated. In my first big meeting, I'm sitting there, and there's all these people that I don't know how long they've been there, but they're there longer than me because it's my first meeting, and they're going through and they are throwing out acronym soup, and I'm like, I am so I put up my like I don't know what that means. Can you explain it to me? And they, oh, here's what it means. And I'm like, great. And I write it down. And then it happens again. I'm like, sorry, what is that? Oh, yeah, here's what it is. I started to notice there's like 4 or 5 other people writing it down. So like, I don't want to ask a third time. So I turn to the person next to me, hey, what does that mean? They're like, I don't know. I turn to the guy on the other side, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know. So I ask again. Now I notice that people are writing it down again. So I realized half the room had no idea what the director was talking about, didn't know what the acronyms even meant, but they were afraid to ask because they've been there for too long and hadn't asked the question. So don't be that person. Don't be afraid.
I love that story. I hear Andrew trying to contact you, Peter. Do you hear him?
He's here.
Yep.
He should be. The speaker should be. Oh no, sorry. I muted him. I didn't want him to talk.
Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew, you're in. You're on. Sorry about
How
that.
are you, sir? Good morning. Sorry.
Excellent. Well, pretty good. I mean, look, I'm feeling great. It's been great being here with John. He's been a fantastic partner here. He's had a rough morning, and I've had no trades.
As well? Yeah. So if you share in the chat room as well, that would be nice.
Absolutely. Let's get that done.
Yep.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Again, from the chat room.
Good morning.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Brian.
Peter, you feel energized. You're feeling super energetic. What are you doing?
Well, it's just life is grand. So that's why.
Nice.
Like
I
being
like
happy.
that. I like the energy of the Peter, guys. You gotta see the energy of the Peter in YouTube. John, how are you doing? Thank you so much for covering for Carlos. Peter mentioned you didn't have a good day.
Yeah.
Well, on purpose, because it seems like Carlos has been trading well lately, and every time I tune in to YouTube, it seems like things are going well. And I was thinking, what lesson is this for all these people tuning in every day to see all these great trades? This isn't how day trading goes necessarily. And then there's wins and losses, right? So I looked around, Andrew. I took one for the team today. In fact, if you want to reimburse me about $300, I'll take it. Because I did this for the company, but I took some losses to show people that red days happen too.
What was the last on?
You guys probably talked about it because I got slammed on PLTR trying to get the high day break, and it just dropped like a stone. I'm sure people saw that. So that was the big one.
That is, yeah, PLTR is a dog's breakfast today. Is really bad.
The whole thing
PLTR is a tough one today for sure.
It's a canine's morning meal all around.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so okay, it's $300 for you. Are you coming to Thailand? We're gonna launch Thailand. If you come to Thailand, I can make it up to you in Thailand.
How awkward for you to ask me that right in front of everybody in the chat room. I don't think so, Andrew, but it sounds neat.
Yeah, John doesn't like traveling much.
John doesn't like flying 4 hours. The 22-hour thing is
but that's how you see the world. That's the price you have to pay to see the world.
You do. You see the back of a seat for 22 hours too.
I know. And then what do you do with all the money?
We got John to Vancouver though.
Fly business. I don't know why you're keeping all of the money. Brian is saving all his money. Eventually your kids are gonna take it and then they say, oh, dad didn't do anything for us.
Oh God.
Just indeed.
That is true.
I fly business. Yeah. I fly business everywhere. I'm not keeping the money.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. Well, thanks again, really, John and Peter, for the YouTube. I had some technical difficulty at the open, so I came to the office this morning, and the office manager are changing the locks and elevator and everything. They're putting a new system, and I told them that I have to be at 6 a.m. But today, everything was locked, so I had to walk back to the home and then set up my laptop quickly. And But eventually he texted me back that, hey, this is the passcode, go in there, and I came back. So at the open, I had one short on PLTR. PLTR has been really amazing. So 1 minute opening range breakdown. So, in this pullback, I went short, partial sum, and it came back up. I got to stop out at the break even. And then I flipped my position to the long, which I knew is not a great trade. Popped up. So we got some sort of a pop on it, and then that's it. So I stayed away from PLTR. TQQ was a very nice trade on a 5 minute with a bullish engulfing. TQQ, I had a really amazing trading on it yesterday. I'm going to post a recap today. So this is a bullish engulfing, which is my favorite pattern, and then really nice red to green move up. And so that was a small share size, though. These are not really big share size. So TQQ was only $1,000 profit. PLTR long and short, as you see here. And NVDL was a loss at the open. There's NVDL, yeah. NVDL was a loss at the open. So we went long for 1 minute, 5 minute range breakout. We did go. I added more, and I got it stopped out thanks to Brian. And TSLL was another one that very similar to TQQ, bullish engulfing, popped up, and I made some profit. It was a pretty good day. So total ended up for me profit $6,400, which is nice. I do have one announcement, guys, that we're going to start the funded account in Trading Terminal on Monday. So everybody who signed up this week, we started for you, free for everybody. You just have to pay that $59 per month. And we added a couple of new servers. So now it's very smooth at the open. If there is still any bug, let us know. And use not night mode. Just use the day theme for now, because we didn't really spend a lot of time on making the user experience UI UX of the night mode. We just didn't have time. For now, just use the bright mode. And yeah, so that's the whole point of funded account, is that at the end of the 3 months, I'm going to pay you the profit that you made from that. So I want the accountabilities for you. I want you to sweat. Otherwise, it's just another video game. Brian, how was your trading? You did a couple of really good trading, yes?
Yeah, no, it was good. I just as you say, you were short Nvidia. I went long, and then I think you flipped your position to long with me at some point, but we got a nice move up right at the open there. And that's where I basically just did that one trade, got most of my profits from the one trade there today. Just need one good trade. And I did do a bit of scalping with SPX calls, which are a little scary. But when we got that 10 o'clock data, we had a nice run up on the SPY. So that gave a opportunity to go long there on the SPY. Yeah. Other than that, I did have some TNA from yesterday that you took TQQ. I bought TNA because the small cap index seems to be performing better these days. So I played TQQ yesterday, or TNA yesterday, which is leverage of the small caps.
I just want to say all this money making is kind of vulgar, Andrew. You and Brian doing well. I don't know why. I don't know why you both care about money so much. Obviously, I don't. I'm not afflicted by that, and I was happy to give some away today.
I'm just joking. Yeah, just joking. Yeah, losses is part of it. Pretty nice. John is a great trader. Like, honestly, military people, I know that why US military is the superpower of the world. Like, I work with 3 military people. Like, they're all amazing. Mike, John, Dwayne, that recently joined us. Man, I don't know what they do to you in that organization, but it's just the discipline, and it's just the ethics that working in the
Discipline.
Mike, and it's amazing.
You got to have that's what trading is all about. Discipline.
Yes, and discipline. That's why I think people who are coming from military background, they usually become good traders, because John has been trading with us for like 5 years now. He still does break of high of the day. I can, it's like algorithmic trading. I can say when he's entering eggs and stuff. That's amazing. Sticking to rules, following the rules. I love
Yeah,
that.
Prakash, yes, the trading terminal is going to have a bookmap-like feature. I think we're still a month or two away from launching that part of the website.
Yeah, it looks really good.
But
Like yesterday, see with the developers. I mean, the development goes really fast. I mean, we had a lot of issues, delay in getting the data really fast. Just creating the data for us was very difficult. Let me show you. Yeah, here's here's a meeting that we had with our developers. Let's see. Come on. All right, so yeah, here's what I can share here. This is our developers working on this, and Nathan is really helping us building a really good stuff. So you guys can see it on YouTube. Yeah, thanks Peter. Oops. So yeah, so essentially would be very similar to Bookmap. The name, I mean, Market Atlas was one of them that we were thinking. John made a really good comment that it should have the words order, map, and stuff in there. That's also a good point, because if you want to market it to the people outside of the community, Atlas is more or less known name. So maybe we work on that. But yeah, it would be very much. I think we're very nice. We're still in the development, but the development goes really fast. Again, getting the data was very difficult. It's just they're so slow in responding and everything. The company that we are getting the data from is the same company that they're serving Robinhood and all big brokers, but they're just not responding to us. Like, come on, man! Like, they're also based in Europe, and these Europeans don't work in summer. Like, nobody is working in summer
that's
in
true.
Europe.
Yeah, they take the summer off.
Like,
Maybe they've got something figured out better than we do. But yeah, so a lot of times it's hard to get people in Europe to respond to work things.
yeah, it's just
Yeah, and the yeah, and the price for trading terminal, which would include the bookmap, it's a real deal. If if you're interested in bookmap, it's quite expensive. I mean, just the subscription alone is it's about 120 a month Canadian, I think, 99 US maybe. So that's just for bookmap plus the annual fee. So the trading terminal option is going to be much more economic for people. And
yeah, the
I
issue
use
is
bookmap a
it's the
lot.
data.
Yeah,
It's expensive. The
I use
data is very
bookmap a
expensive.
lot. I
Like
mean,
NAS
it's a
is
great
charging us
tool.
$20. Yeah. Nasdaq is charging $20 per user. If you want to add the futures on that, futures are pretty expensive too. Like that's a big issue. Like again, I can give you the platform for free. I can give you your lifetime access to the platform. Someone asked, okay, why don't you sell lifetime membership to Trading Terminal? Is because you have to pay monthly fee to the exchanges for the users, and it's impossible to have a lifetime access. So I can give you a lifetime access for the platform, but I have to charge you monthly for the data that goes into the exchange. So it's pretty expensive, like to to show you how expensive it is. Just let me see if let me see some of the
Does it? I
data.
don't. Is it going to include futures as well, or I can't?
Not in this phase.
Remember.
Again, it's going to be the issue of the data feed. The way that they work is they charge you a one flat monthly fee, like for example, $10,000 per month, and then when you distribute it to users, you have to report to who. They have name, full address, and everything. So that's another thing that I have to collect. And then you have to pay them monthly per use. So for example, Brian Pezim, you have to pay $20 per month, send it to NASDAQ. So they invoice them. The problem with the futures is actually CME Group is super expensive as well. So we want to add the micro futures as well in there. But again, the number of the fee that you have to pay is pretty expensive. We'll look at it. I'll do it. But the first phase would be only US stocks. And then the second phase would be potentially futures. The reason that Thinkorswim is $40 is because Thinkorswim is already providing you data. And so if you have data from two platforms, then you don't have to pay twice. And that's the issue. For example, if you're paying for NASDAQ Total View through DAS, and then you get the bookmap from me, then you're paying twice. But if it's one platform, then they charge you once. And that's a tricky part about it. Like, for example, Thinkorswim is already charging you on some other stuff and paying the exchanges, and then these new features is not going to additional, because that $40 is absolute profit for them because they're already covering the cost of data. And that's an issue. If I had the trading terminal and DAS at the same time, would have been probably much easier, but I don't. All right, so doesn't charge you anything per month. In that case, then TD is absorbing that cost themselves, so they make money from your commission and holding your assets. There are different models, obviously. Robinhood doesn't charge commission, but the money that they're making is either through selling the order flow and holding your asset, just keeping your asset, like billions of hundreds of billions of dollars in asset, holding it is very valuable. They put that cash into the money market and then they make money out of it. So there are different business models that they have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so some of the people that are offering bookmap at a discount are obviously they may be getting a really good price from the people that make bookmap as well, because they're they have the purchasing power to offer bookmap to a lot of people. And they, as Andrew said, they could be absorbing some of that cost and as a feature, and just they're making the money in other parts of their business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the markets, Qs and SPY have really just settled into a pretty narrow trading range for the last 10 or 15 minutes. We're just hanging around the VWAP on both of those indexes, and now it's the big wait and see mode that we're in now. See what Powell says at Jackson Hole tomorrow morning, speaking at 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. And it's kind of interesting. We were just looking at this Fed Watch tool, the CME Fed Watch tool. One of the, I think the Kansas City Fed guy was on saying something this morning about how he's hesitant about doing any rate cut in September, and you can see that it may have impacted this percentage of people expecting a rate cut in September. It was 1 week ago on the 14th of August, it was 92% expecting a cut. Yesterday it was 82, and today it's 75. So the chance of a rate cut are starting to diminish here a bit. I think the market's going to be disappointed if I don't think Fed Powell is going to indicate what they're going to do, but everybody will be watching for his reading between the lines as to what he says. I suspect he'll stick with the same script. But PPI number that we got last week at 0.9% was kind of a shocker.
Yeah, he's certainly resisted all pressures to change the tune of the song, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so lower the rate. Lower the rate.
Lower the rate, yeah. So anyway, there's like I said, it's turned into a pretty choppy market right now. Really, the SPY and the Qs may be picking up a little bit here now. Been getting some buying again.
All right, guys, just one more thing, guys, that my book is for free. The new book, the Kindle version is for free. So anyone who want to get that, I'm gonna post the link here. Make sure to download your copy. And again, as always, I'm appreciating an honest review on Amazon, whatever you think about the book. Brian and I both, for all of our books, we are really appreciating that. So that is the maximum that I know. I do not know any more than this book. That's it. That's what I know.
That's it. You've spilled it all.
That's the end of what I know.
Yeah. There's a lot of valuable information there. So don't miss out on that for sure. I've downloaded a copy.
Thank you. So I'm using DAS Trader Pro and IBKR at the same time. So they're connected together. So that's a platform. So on DAS, when you can go purchase, you can actually go link it to your interactive brokers. Any question, guys, about the trading today? It was a pretty decent, reasonable day. So Freeman, you pay monthly. And if you're profitable at the end of the 3 months, then you get the payout. And of course, you have paid 3 months of platform. So donated, it's just the link here. Yeah, Ben, did you take the CQQ reversal yesterday? It was awesome, right? At the bottom, like really low of the day. So Sean is asking, when I flipped my position on PLTR, that was actually, it was a hotkey mistake. So when I actually flipped my position, I went long and there was a hotkey mistake. And I said, oh, you know what? It's now that it's squeezing, like this squeeze was really strong, I might as well just add a little bit and see if it can pop up for a red to green. So this is a red to green. But generally, you don't want to go in the stock that is, open such a weak, heavy, weakness. You don't want to go back long, especially PLTR on the daily chart is extremely weak. It has been really dropping like 20% in the last 2 days. So, I don't really have a lot of hope for a squeeze on it. It was a hotkey mistake, and I said I might as well stay in there. But overall, this is not a good trade. I don't have a trade book on it by no means. This second one.
Yeah, sometimes those mistakes can make you money, and other times they can be a disaster. So,
all right, so we want to do 5 giveaway. Members of Lambo and Garbage Truck, you get more 4 times chance. Peter is the man who's doing it for us. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow, we're going to also do a couple of more. And next week, we're going to do maybe 1 free funded account every single day. So.
All right. What's our keyword of the day then, Andrew?
You can, the hashtag BBT is good in YouTube, not in the chat room, but in YouTube.
All right. Hashtag BBT.
And thanks for all the members of. You have to also like the video, guys. I forgot to say that. Like the video. If you don't like the video, you're not going to be in that software. And thanks for all the members of Lambo and Garbage Truck to supporting our platform. The reason for that is YouTube promotes and rewards channels that have membership and more engagement with their members. obviously because they want to make money. All right, the numbers are coming in slowly.
Yeah, I'll give a chance for everybody
Trip to Burning Man. Yeah, that could
get
be
in
on
here.
the. Yeah,
on,
that could be on too. You have to be prepared for Burning Man, though. It's not just a flight.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Burning Man. So Andrew, you're not presenting, are you? Are you running a rig, a tent, a thing, whatever you do? I don't know. What do you do at Burning Man? You give away pancakes?
We have a
They
camp.
do.
We do have a
They have
camp.
it's a theme camp. They'll have a
Theme
theme
camp.
at their camp.
So this,
Yeah.
so basically, you're LARPing. Is that what you're doing? Is this supposed to be like
LARPing? What does that one mean?
What is
live
LARPing?
action role playing? You know, when people go out dressed as
okay,
orcs
yeah,
or
that too.
wizards or stuff and fight in the forest.
Oh, you can do that too. Sure.
Aren't you like LARPing in the
So we have a
desert?
camp. The name of the camp is Discotheque Pancake. So we have a big tent. We play music, and we also serve pancakes for everybody from 10 o'clock until 4 p.m.
Okay. Wow.
People have a lot of misconception about Burning Man. Elon Musk said that if you haven't been to Burning Man, you just don't get it. You can't explain Burning Man to people who haven't been there. It's not party, it's not sex, it's not drugs. It's a lifestyle festival, and it's just hard to explain, like really. All right, go Brian. Go Peter.
Okay, here we go. We're
It
gonna
is.
choose. How many winners are we picking today?
Five.
5 for audiobooks. All right, Here we
Yes.
go. Starting with Jeff S.
Nice, congratulations,
Jeff,
Jeff
our
S.
first winner. Pick another one. Sarath.
Nice, congratulations, Sarah.
Wait.
Oh, Sarah, good friend, yeah.
Okay. Who else we got? We got Neil. Neil Howlett. I gotta take the names down to make sure that we get you recognized here. Fourth one, Cameron. Cameron Stanley. And last but not least for today, Andrew. Just Andrew.
Me?
It's not you, is it? No.
Yay!
Excluded. Get a copy of your own book. All right, guys. So if your name came up, if you saw your name there, then you are one of our 5 winners. What you need to do is you need to email Carlos at bearbulltraders.com. Carlos at bearbulltraders.com. And he will hook you up. I'll let him know your names. He'll be looking for you. Just send him. He'll send you the link so that you can get your free audiobook. So congratulations to our 5 winners for today. Thank you everybody for participating and liking the video. That goes a long way in helping promote the channel, and we greatly appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. See you tomorrow. Thor,
Awesome.
over to you, sir.
Yeah.
You look good. You look healthy. You look happy. You look
All
like
right.
someone who made a lot of money.
A man who's made money today.
I have made money today, actually. So it is true. So that is a good thing.
Sweet.
What's your day today, Brian?
That was good. The one really good trade on Nvidia and a little bit of SPX in and out. So options. It was
Beautiful.
it was an okay day, even though it wasn't shaping up to look that great. But the market always giveth in one way, or you just have
Right.
to be patient.
So true.
So yeah.
Well, hey, Sean
All
V, Day One, how's everybody doing? Good to see everyone out there. Great seeing you guys doing your thing, profit of profit. I mean, you always crush it, so making money. So to everyone out there, how's it going? A quick reminder, just for a little bit of a housekeeping here. Don't forget, let's make sure we're thumbed up. We're get our likes. We're gonna get our subscribers on. And at the end of today's session, we are going to be doing a drawing, kind of like what we just did for the books. So I need to message Peter to see if he can set that up for me, or whoever's running the show. But I'd like to do a mentoring drawing at the end of the day, if you don't mind.
Today?
So at the end of the day,
bet.
so it'll be mentor mentoring or something fun we can do as a hashtag. So just keep that in mind. We're gonna do it at the end, so it's a good reason to stick around. The winner of it will get can email me, thor@bearbulltraders.com, and I will send you a link for my calendar, and you will get a 1-hour session with me. We can talk about anything you want in your trading, or we can just talk about life. You know, if you just want to, like, you know, hang out, you know, basically have a virtual beer or something, we can do it. So it's really whatever you're up to, and we'll hang out. So we'll do that. So you could just come back at the end, but oh wait, maybe I'll run it like 10 minutes before the end, maybe 5 minutes at the end. I don't care. Whatever works. As long as you come back, that's all that matters, you. I bought your book. Oh, thanks, Brett. I appreciate you. Thanks so much there. For anyone who hasn't, a couple books of note. One is my book, A Complete Day Trading System, right? The link for that just got put up. And don't forget, Andrew's new book, Trade Book, is also out. So he just gave away 5 of them. He's been doing it quite a bit. So, but if you don't want to wait, get your copy. So my trading day was fairly I had a really nice day. So basically what happened at the open, we ended up selling really hard, and we broke the new low, so I got short. But my stop was really wide. You know, and so as we re-offered and came back up, really big bullish candle on relatively low volume, I decided that would be a nice opportunity to get some more on. And then I got my stop just above the red box area here, right? So we sold down nicely, and I ended up hitting a target as we went through S6. And then, of course, true to form, we called it S6 and rallied back up. So pretty fun day on YM. So, and that's my trading day today. So no need to get crazy. So that's just kind of what I did. So easy. Upside in queue. No, it's not. I would never do such a thing, right? It's just, you know, I don't know what is the term, what is passive aggressive or whatever. Right? So anyway, so that's my day. So how about your day? How did everyone else's day? I will never upside in queue. I would never, you could never, I would never ban you. Nothing you can say that would make me stop loving you. Do you trade futures outside of 90 hours? Yeah, quite a bit actually, especially Charles, especially commodities futures, right? So like I like trading especially gold or crude. Crude today during market hours was actually quite lovely today. It offered a very nice S3 buy. If it ever loads, there we go. Look at this beautiful S3 buy we had on crude this morning. Right? But you could have also done an R4 short after hours, right? It's a higher, wider range. So in the after hours, right, if you were awake around 7 and 6 in the morning, you could have gotten this short on crude. That was the best move of the day for this one. Crude and gold move the best. Most of the commodities tend to move best after in the pre-market. And the reason why is because they're tied to the London and Asian opens. Right. So you get a lot of movement, right, at, 2 o'clock in the morning or, 3 in the morning, right, because you have other markets opening, right, in other parts of the world, right, or closing, depending on, the time of day, right? So we can see here, we kind of had an offer into R4, we triggered, so we would have been short here, stop here, easy 4-to-1 target on this one, right? But, you could have bought the long later. So my cams work all the time, right? They're so fun, right? So, and it calls 24/7 if you want it to. Just, careful, because sleep's important. So yeah, so commodities. So I prefer, I don't like trading indices after hours. I prefer to trade commodities after hours. So for instance, you know what I mean? You get better moves in the pre and post market. My cams don't work on gold? Yeah, they do. The problem with gold is bold, right? So gold overshoots, right? So like, look at the precision. We did this big stupid candle here, right? And then we held, look, S3, boop, 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 higher, wider range, S3, holding, right? You could have longed there with your stop below there, and you would have had a really nice move all the way to the CP, right? I swing gold using the cams all the time. So they definitely work. The problem is you have to be really careful with them because gold doesn't trade with a lot of volume, right? So if it's like right here, this whole wick is only, 2,000 contracts, right? I mean, I know that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. You know what I mean? So it doesn't take a whole lot to blast the book on gold, especially if, even when the market's open. Hey, Nav, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. I do a couple of presentations for boot camp as well. I will do 3 presentations for boot camp. I'm going to talk about market auction theory. I'll be talking about order book reading and imbalance, and then I'll be talking about cam system risk management and kind of stuff. So, and then I'll be doing 3 live trading sessions a week. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Yeah, I'll be with you till 10:30 in the morning every morning. Ben, stop. Have you made all the money? Hey, let's distract Ben. Hey, Ben, what's your favorite song? Like if you're going to pick any music, and don't say K-pop Demon Hunters. Although I know that's what it is. No, so Ben, question for you. Do you have a rule for when you stop trading? Like what does stopping trading mean? HA or just the plays? I can explain it to you in like 2 seconds while I wait for Ben. Khalid. Khalid Saeed, man, that's a strong name, brother. I like that name. Let's see here. Oh, to the moon. Got it here. So in the pivot system, right? The H is telling you if it's a higher range or a lower range, right? The letter tells you what play it is. We do this in case there's multiple plays available. We can't like spell out the play on every one of them. So if there's more than one play, we'll truncate, right? So like right now it's an HA call on gold, right? HA is an S3 to R3 traverse, right? So now let's say you wanted to know how to trade it. Book, right? You go to chapter 3. Sorry, not chapter 3. Yeah. Go to pivot strategies. And then you go to R3 to S3 traverse, right? So you see exactly how it should be taken, open price, the offering type. It gives you the conditions that you're looking for. You know what I mean? So it'll say, since the strategy uses R3, since this strategy uses R3 as your entry location, you should right off the bat that you will be shorting. You will recall from chapter 1 that the red pivots, such as R3, are areas for shorting. An R3 to S3 traverse is a bearish play that takes advantage of attempts by the market participants to move the price away from the pivot area. Right? So it's a good time.
Hey, epic voice is my job. Please. We will have dueling epic voices in a world in which deep voices control the narrative. You are forgiven, my
Sorry,
child.
Lord.
You
Oh,
are forgiven.
Slider. I'll
This
only use this
time.
voice from now on, okay? We'll just do it this way. In a market full of fake gurus known as furus and people trying to sell you special things.
Better.
Oh, my goodness. Are you not entertained yet, people? I mean, my goodness. He is your father. Kevin. That was a good one. Man, we are still selling on the Qs, huh? So for me, look, I think we're going to go all the way to S4. Notice our ATR low is sitting right there. I think that's where we go.
By the way, for all of our new people out there, you have to appreciate Thor and I have many years of doing these things together. So we apologize to bring you in the middle of our event. Thor, do you remember this? We had a member that created this for us.
Oh my God, I do remember that.
Look at you playing Plinko up at the top. There I am as Bob Barker, or the host there. Oh, memories, eh? Look at that.
I love it.
There you go. Remember I used to jump on name that entry. Anyways.
It was one of the favorite games we were playing for everyone who doesn't remember on Name That Entry and this is just talking about how consistent I was trying to be as even a trader back then. Peter, I would literally be like, Peter, where did my entry come from? And then Peter would just like look at it and say, here, and see where and it was a lot of fun. But and he was right a lot because, I take very similar entries on my trades.
Good time.
But that was like what? That was like 5 years ago now or something.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Good grief. Even though someone is on a losing day, you guys put a smile on them. Love this community. Matthew, that is why I am here. Edutainment and to make you smile. Is NQ setting for an a long? So here's the thing. If you go long here, it's going to be a tough long, right? Because if you're looking at, first off, our order book is not very well developed to the top side right now, right? Our laddering is significantly better in this direction towards 23,150 on the Qs. So right now, see how this order's coming in at 23,250? We'll probably do like a little bit of a squeeze up to this level and offer it. And if a seller hits, we'll probably go back down to 23,220, bounce off of it, reoffer this guy, crack it, and then go down this direction, right? So now, and the reason why I say that is because that's what the laddering would insinuate, right? And the volume kind of fits that also, right? So, but this is why these pullbacks happen. We ran out of sellers, so we're wiggling up. We're trying to entice more selling. Now, if we get high enough, anyone who's sold here might start, if they were shorts, they might cover, and that could squeeze us. Look, you just saw an order come in at 23,300. So that's actually adding some strength to the book to the top side, right? So maybe someone bought here. You can see there's a structure shift in the book, right? And now there's an order coming in there. So maybe someone pretty big, like a specialist, went ahead and added in there and bought, right? Because they're going to go ahead and sell to somebody at 23,300. So they're going to go ahead and start buying now, and that'll push the price up to 23,300, right? So we'll have to watch that and see how it goes. The real important thing to watch will be the actual volume, right? We have these large candles. If this volume stays low, well, we really don't expect it to go into a rally. This is probably going to relief, but we don't short here, even though if we think it's going to go down because you're in a buying range now, right? That's why the short comes from, would have been from, way up here. So we're not really a short. What we want to do is buy because we're in a buying range, but we're not in a place we can buy right now. We need to buy from down here near ATR low. And the reason why is because if we buy down here, we can still get a movement back to here on this because it's a rangier day, right? Our ATRs are inside of the pivots. So this, for me, this is technically a wide day, right? So I'm not expecting to go outside of value today. I'm expecting we're going to close somewhere near the open. So if I want us to get low so I can grab this movement back up to the CP, and then it'll close somewhere around here, right? So I can take advantage of that move. Makes sense? What does reoffer mean? So this is a really interesting concept to really kind of pay attention to, and I really like that you're asking that. That's a really good question, TJ. So anytime you hit a price for the first time, you are offering that price, right? So let's start at the open, right? Now we had a new, let's pick a different ticker maybe. Let's see if I can find a ticker that's a good example. Hey, Casey, welcome to Lambos and Garbage Trucks. We're so happy to have you with us. Not only are you now cooler than 95% of the people watching this chat right now, but you also are incentivized during our drawings. And I'm actually going to do one at the end of the day today. So that so you get a multiplier for those drawings, right? So and so you're more likely to win. The drawing is actually a 1-hour mentoring session with me for free. I guess maybe MYM is going to be a good example. I mean, I did trade it. Okay, let's just go with MYM since I traded it, because I actually did add in on the reoffer. So, all right. So let's start from the beginning, right? And then there was the beginning, right? So remember we had news events today, multiple, right? So things changed right after the news. So, but to begin, oh, look, copper just alerted. So at the open, what does YM tell us at the open? When our MOO orders came through, which is our, hey, Luis, which is our market on open orders came through, we had an incredibly strong sell, right? That was a very bearish offer, right? So our opening offer, or our first 1 minute, right, was incredibly bearish, right? So now what happens is the reason why most people get stopped out of their positions is they don't wait for the reoffer, right? They try and just get in really fast right at the open, or they pick the second candle and then they get squeezed. But the thing is we sold, and what the first price that we're going to reoffer, unless the volume is really, really strong, is we're going to reoffer the open. Right? So we pulled back to reoffer the open, right? So this is our reoffer. Now, anyone who's into VPA and loves VPA as much as I do, what's wrong with this candle? No volume, right? No volume, right? This is a giant engulfing bar, right? This should be massive. The volume on this thing should be like this big. Look at the volume, you know what I mean? It should be a huge volume bar, right? But it wasn't. It ghosted. Thank you, Syed. I'll send you the check later. It squeezed here like crazy. And then look at the reoffer. What did we get at the reoffer? Indecision, right? So we sold, and when we tried to buy premium, we did not have the ability to buy, and our volume dropped again. And then we sold and made a new low, right? So we're in here and our stop's above premium, right? If they buy premium and go up, we're wrong, right? They're gonna go offer VWAP. So now that we're starting to sell, right? We hit this bid right here, right? So this is now our new bid. That's our best offer to the bid. This is what we call our held bid, right? So we held this bid and squeezed. So what's going to be important is this order. So look what happens when we re-offer that bid. This gives you a lot of information about what's going to happen next, right? We actually broke it and closed under it. We then re-offered the sellers, and look what happened. Right? The volume died. Right? So when we tried to go higher and get buyers to come in to get to the sellers, nothing came in. Right? And then we sold. You know, I'm going to see if I can recreate. So now notice here, look at the hard sell, then the offer, and then we bought. But look, it's not till here. Look what happens here. Look at this candle right here. See the difference? It's our first candle on the entire day that is a buy candle with strong volume. Right? First candle of the entire day. That's a buy candle with strong volume. If you longed right after that signal and threw your stop in the range, look what happened. Right? Big move up all the way to there. Now, this is how you knew things were going wrong, right? We hit here, we came down. Look at this candle right here. What's wrong with this buy candle? What would have made you get really worried that maybe we're going to sell? Look at that candle. Elevated volume, but look what happened to the candle. Yep, retest and reoffer are the same, are synonyms. So for this instance, we bought and found a seller, and there was a seller here, and we started offering them, right? We sold away. We then tested them or reoffered, and when we reoffered, no one bought, right? When you're talking about price, you normally use the word offer, right? So I want to try and maybe get this idea. I talked about this with some of my mentees this morning. Have any of you ever been to a real auction? Like an actual auction? Like where they're auctioning off like cars or cattle or agriculture, like a real actual auction. I think one of the reasons I've always been fairly good at reading stock market price action is because I'm a farm kid. You know what I mean? If you go to my Instagram, sure is Thor Young BBT. Links to my indicators are on my profile. Right? So Sean, I'll slow it down for you though. So I grew up on a hog farm, right? So everything we did was by auction. We grew most of our own agriculture to feed them, but sometimes we had to go get it, right? We'd have to go to auction. And when we sold, we would also sell at auction. Daryl's going to support me here on this one, right? Because we're going to talk for a moment. I want to talk to you about market auction theory, right? Auctioneers are masters of crowd management. And the stock market is a very complex auction, right? We have multiple auctioneers auctioning multiple markets for multiple clients that can both be bought and sold against, right? So it's a very complex auction, right? That's what makes stock trading so hard, right? Especially because we can short, right? Being able to short against the market is a very interesting tool, right? It really changes the dynamic because even our specialists can short, right? Imagine having an auctioneer where the auctioneer is allowed to start selling what he's buying in order to sell it to somebody else, right? Specialists can do a task called naked shorting. I don't know if y'all are familiar with what the process of naked shorting is, but naked shorting is shorting when you don't have, is selling when you don't have available inventory, right? So you know, when you short, you're not actually shorting, right? You're selling your broker's shares, right? Your broker has a very large inventory that they maintain for you to short against, right? Or you to short utilizing, right? So you're actually not, you're taking their shares and selling their shares and then buying their shares back to them and then keeping the difference when you short. Specialists don't have brokers, right? Specialists have float, right? They carry inventory. But when the specialists oversell, they can actually keep selling, right? They can actually naked short, right? So, but this creates a lot of pressure on them and a lot of gamma, right? If they're not really careful, right? So they can get really, this is how a lot of specialists die, right? Specialists are traders just like you and I are. They have their own accounts that have to be managed and they blow up too, right? This can really be like a thing. So when you go to an auction, right, there's going to be processes put in place, and this happens in the stock exchange too, right? The first thing you're going to do if you're looking to sell at the auction, right, as a seller, you're going to go up to the auctioneer and you're going to establish your preferred price, right? Your value price, right? Or your area of premium, your preferred price, and what is called your reserve. Hey, just to make sure I'm validated here, for my fellow auctioneer, Daryl, what is the reserve price for in the instance of an auction? What occurs? What occurs if the reserve is not met? Sometimes auctions don't have a reserve, but in this instance it will. Oh my God, that's funny. All right, I was expecting a faster one. All right, so the reserve. Right. So Dan jumped in, right, and Daryl got in. Okay, it doesn't sell, right? You know, it doesn't sell, right? So if you haven't met the reserve of the auction, the auctioneer has this embarrassing moment, right? Because the auctioneer doesn't like to really tell everyone that part so much. So if we can't meet the reserve, the auctioneer has this really embarrassing thing they have to do, which is go to the client, right? Or who they're selling and saying, yeah, sorry, I know you thought you were going to buy it at this price, but you didn't meet reserve, so I can't sell it to you, right? And that's kind of a bad rap for the auctioneer. So one of the things you're going to do in a market theory is one of the things you do in order to know where the prices are is you don't watch the bidding, you watch the auctioneer, right? So at the beginning, let's say we're creating an auction scenario, and I'm going to try and sell 2,000 head of a particular type of livestock, right? And I want to sell them at $115 a head, right? So that's my value, right? That's what I want to sell them at, right? When the auctioneer is going to come in and say, okay, well, what's our reserve? And you say our reserve is $100. That's the lowest I'm willing to sell them for. And then we negotiate what is called the premium value, right? The premium value is anything over 125. And we're going to run a $20 spread, $10 above the bid, right? So in some auctions, they are required to announce the reserve pig, and some they are not, right? It just depends on the type of auction you go to. Like if you go to like Mecum or an online auction, the reserve is often put out there just to make sure everyone knows. But the problem is by knowing what the reserve price is, this gives the buyers a very large advantage, right? So in certain types of auctions, they won't make that announcement. You have to really kind of figure that out, especially back in the, so but even if you do know it, right or not, but so like think about it in this instance, when we're trading the stock market, we have no idea what the reserve price is, but it's there, right? When someone goes to get rid of their shares from a large institutional fund, right, those shares are going to be distributed to asset management companies. And those asset management companies are through dark pool are going to transact those into the share. And that when they distribute those to those asset management companies, they set a premium of value and a reserve price with them. And we don't know what that is. So what happens now is as we start to go in here, right, once the auction opens, the first thing that's going to happen is all the buying is going to stay off the board. And this is what we call PD, or price discovery, right? So right when we open, right, this first initial phase of the market process is what we call price discovery, right? Or open auction, right? The market makers and the specialists are actually starting to put their orders on the book, and value itself is trying to figure out where premium, value, and reserve are. Right. So if you start watching the price at the open, the first thing you're going to try and do is establish these concepts, right? Where is our reserve price? Where is our value? Where is our premium at? Right now, in an open auction, like at a livestock option, you will be able to ascertain when you're getting close to reserve because the auctioneer will start stair stepping the price down. Right. So what happens is he goes, all right, everybody, so glad to have everybody here. What we're going to do is go ahead and have a nice little auction. We're going to be starting out here. We got a beautiful head of hog for everybody here at the auction. Today, we're going to open up bidding. Today, we're going to start out bidding. Let's go ahead and start. Let's go to the value of $115. $115. Do I have $115? Anybody? $115. Do I have $115? Going once, $115. Anybody? No, $115. Do I have $114? Not $114. How about $110? Can I get $110? How about $109? $109, $108? 108, 105. Do I have 105? How about 104.50? Right, 104.50, 103.50, 103.25, 103.15. Right. So what you can start to tell is as he gets closer to $100, the bid prices that he's willing to offer start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Right, because he's trying to find a buyer. Right, but he doesn't want to go all the way to reserve to find that buyer, right? So he starts actually and this is our downside wicks in the stock market. The algorithm is actually fishing for a buyer because it doesn't really want to go much lower. It will if it has to, right? But at this moment, it doesn't want to, right? The algorithm is trying to find a buyer here, so it's moving just a little lower and pulling up. How do you know? There's no volume, right? If they find the buyer, there will be volume. So same thing here, right? Now, as we start to go down lower and we start to get too close to this reserve price, at some point, everyone here is here to buy, right? So at this point, what happens is someone will try and assert dominance on the market. What do you mean assert dominance? They will come in and they will say, I will take 2,000 at 103 spot, right? So now we have our hit. We found our buyer. Boom, volume. I'll take all of the shares or all of the head and I'll take them all right there, right? So now we have our price hit. Boom, we have our volume spike. Pow, right? So now what's going to happen is we're going to get a pop in price, right? Because they came in and hit. But the auctioneer, right, doesn't want it to move too fast. Why? Because if the price moves too fast, they will scare out the other buyers. So the auctioneer will go, all right, so we now have let's say they came in and said, I'll grab 107. The market maker goes, okay, we now have 107. We were just at 103. 107, do we have 108? So you'll see this little bit of a push. Let's put this in relation to an actual stock chart here. right? We just fished down and we stair stepped down and we found a buy, pop, and it popped our price up, right? So, but the price moved too fast. Everyone, this is what creates FVGs for the record, okay? So tie it all together here, right? We get a fast pop in price. As the price pops, right, it scares out all the other buyers, right? Everyone wanted to buy there, and it went too fast to entice chasing, right? So now we get stuck. So what happens now is the market maker goes, all right, we got 107. We got 10, we got 10 like 7.25? You know what I mean? 107.50, right? They start stair stepping again, right? They're trying to get it to move up, but they can't. So now the difference with this auction is they don't have to close this auction at this price, right? So now the market maker starts to go back down and offers that buyer if they want to buy more, because in this instance, there are more shares to buy, right? We're saying 2,000, but there's 200,000 and he only bought 2,000, right? So now he's saying, okay, let's re-offer to see if he's willing to buy more. If not, we go below him, right? But if he's willing to buy more, right, then we'll do that. So, but what happens is we start offering back to find, and generically, we will move back to that mid-level because we're going to offer a fair value. And normally our buyer will start buying more, or people who thought they missed the boat will start to buy more. Once that buying comes in, right, anyone who had shorted in our market starts to cover. This adds more buying. Anyone who planned to buy lower starts buying, right? Everyone's here to buy, right? So now you have people who weren't willing to buy at 103 are now paying 116, right? Because they're afraid they're not going to get a piece now, right? And this is what causes us to then go into these massive rips to the top side, because now everyone who came to buy starts buying, and anyone who wants to sell later starts to buy now, right? And this is how we get our major reversals to occur. So if you really take some of the, and this is an example of it right here on Apple. Look at that, as if I described it perfectly, right? Here's our assertion, and we start offering back, and then here we go. Boom, our buyer stepped in and bought. Big volume, big candle, closed very strong, but it exhausts our buyers, right? So our specialist has to start offering for a little bit and going lower and getting up. And then finally, when we break, here comes out our shorts. They start coming out, and as more buyers come back in, we pop the price, right? So once you start getting used to learning how an auction really, really works, you will understand what you're seeing on a stock chart, right? These are participants. These aren't numbers. These are people. These are algorithms. You know what I mean? Very often, Jaspreet. I would say more often than it doesn't. Jesse, hey buddy, you must have maybe you're watching like an older part of the video right now. Or you're a bot. But that happened already. I am going to do a drawing at the end of this session for an hour of my mentoring, if you're interested. I mean, apparently, who is it? And I'll hit Four Corners question. It was like, oh, chill vlog. Today is not interested for me. See you guys tomorrow and have a nice day. I'm not really sure like why, if you're in a YouTube channel and you were going to exit that YouTube channel, like you would announce it in such a capacity. Like, chill vlog, if you end up watching this later, because I assume you're not here because it's not an interesting day, so you're gonna have a great day and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm just not really ever, it's just like, I've never like, could you imagine being at like a party and you're hanging out with all your friends having drinks, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, well, this party really stinks. see you later. You know what I mean? You walk out and then like, you're going to come back tomorrow. You know what I mean? And like ask questions or want to hang out with people and like, and do stuff. It's just such a, like, people are fun. You know what I mean? Like it's just so interesting when people do stuff. Hey, Max, how are you doing, buddy? What is the box on your screen? There's a couple boxes. So this box is a stock trading chart. This is bookmap. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Amy. This one down here is news. So this is my news aggregator. So it goes out and it grabs, this is on TV, this is Thor's news. So it basically goes out and grabs major market news and brings it into my screen for me. So like right now, you know, like the next news event that's coming up is Powell talking tomorrow at 10 a.m. So, and it rolls forward. But like this morning, I had all the news that was coming out this morning. It was pretty tall because we had a lot of news coming out. Cool. It's still price discovery, Gator, because they know what they want, where they want it. But like the NYSE alone has thousands of specialists, right? Like I think it's like 1,100 or I forget, it's like 1133 or 1311 or some number like that. I forget, right? You know, they've got a pretty large number of seats there. Right. You know, CBOT traders back in the day, I mean, there were thousands of them. You know what I mean? Most of those seats are occupied. Most of those seats are occupied by algorithms now. Right. So, but it's still like no one gets to see everyone else's poker hand. You know what I mean? So it's there's, you know, the specialist. So I want to let's elaborate on that. I bet a lot of people don't understand this completely. So how many of you actually understand the hierarchy of trading? Like where the volume's coming from? So I'm talking about from like 401k mom and pop up to specialist. Do you guys know? This show stinks. Thanks, Mad Props. Touche. I see what you did there. And I like it a lot. Yeah, burned. Did you see the burn? I was so hard, I just got burned. Oh, burned. Oh, it hurt. Mad Props. How dare you? Oh my gosh, that was so good. Oh, all right. See, this is why I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do. I mean, y'all make this so, you know what a privilege it is to get to do this for a living, like to get to hang out with you, trade stocks, and then just get to joke around and have some fun. I mean, my God, this is like, what a life, right? Life is amazing. Anyway, sorry. That just, you just got me there, man. That just made me laugh. Okay. So basically we have a few classifications, but a lot of people kind of make this weird assumption about specialists and that there's some magic, like I kind of think of it like Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the wizard behind the curtain. You think he's you think he's an actual wizard. You know what I mean? Like he's a magician, but he's not. He's just a normal person with really cool technology. You know what I mean? So awesome, Dan. I love that. Right? So at the very, sorry to say it, but at the very bottom of the ladder here, right, we have 401k, right? We got the mom, we got the pop, right? So these are the, you know, everyday, this doesn't, you know, transactions, this is investment movement, you know, just stuff like that, right? You get a call from you know, your quarterly, you got to sit down and log into the website at your job. You got to go in there and toggle the tickers that they want you to pick from, pick how much you want of each one, and then it goes in there, right? This is your just your normal everyday stuff, right? And this is our bottom tier trade, right? This is investing, right? So investing, right, in this category, and let's say small investing, right? So small account investing, you, me, stuff like that. So above this, we have what we call retail. And I'm going to go ahead and stipulate by adding a new term that I actually heard coined for the first time by Tim Sykes, pro-tail, right? So retail and pro-tail are currently making up, believe it or not, around 24% of total market volume right now. Guess who pro-tail and retail is? Us, right? What separates retail and pro-tail is the account size, right? Andrew, for instance, falls into pro-tail, right? Someone like like a Tim Sykes, right, falls into pro-tail. We fall into retail, right? Pig, me too, buddy. But we make up a very large chunk of market traffic these days, and it's getting bigger all the time. Day trading, folks, is real, right? Swing trading does fall into this category loosely as well, right? So now after this, we have what is called, oh, I'm going to spell this wrong. Maybe. We have proprietary, right? Proprietary are traders who trade in a similar fashion to pro-tail and retail, but they utilize an institution's money. But we don't call them institutions or institutional traders because they're not trading for institutions, right? They're actually just trading for a proprietary trading firm. So yeah, we may be way down here. Gator. So that's proprietary. Proprietary only makes up about 7%. Investing makes up about 11%. Everything else is institutional. Right? So everything else is institutional. So it ends up being, it's like 50 something percent. I'm sucking at math right now. What is that? 1535 plus 742, right? So it's like 58% right now, I believe, of total traffic. I ran this through chat and a few other programs when I presented on this a couple days ago. So, as of that, it was around, that was the kind of the split. Right. So institutional traffic are people that are folks or entities that are trading large, insanely massive institutional accounts. So what's an institutional account? It's an account that's held by an institution, right? So let's say Apple Computer, right? Let's say PayPal, right? PayPal's an institution. PayPal has its own investment portfolio, right? Why does PayPal go up and down when Bitcoin goes up and down? See ya, Mickey, a much nicer exit. Why it goes up and down? Because PayPal is heavily vested in Bitcoin, right? So their investment portfolio or their total worth actually goes up and down when Bitcoin goes up and down, right? So that's because these are institutional portfolios and they make up the vast majority of traffic. Right? The state of Florida has one. The New York Police Department's institutional, right? Target has an institutional port, right? The U.S. government has an institutional portfolio, right? Yes, we are a remora on the whale of the institutions. That is a fact, right? So not a plankton. We're not here to be eaten. We don't really feed them, right? We're just there to try and eat the scraps, right? And then the last category up here is what we call the specialist. The specialist is a trader. Just like you, just like me, the specialist, aka your market maker, is a trader just like you and me. They have their own account. It's a very large account. They are allowed to carry an inventory that is not rated as an investment inventory, right? So they can carry a float, right? And it is their job to handle these requests, right? So yeah, exactly, Syed. This is your Einstein, right? This is a Citadel, right? These are these different big conglomerates, right? It is their job mostly to facilitate institutional trade, but while they're at it, they'll go ahead and handle this and this. Citadel, the market maker whose algorithm I mirror in my system, right? Citadel does, I believe, something like 60% of all retail traffic goes through Citadel, and 30 something to 40 something percent of all institutional traffic is currently going through Citadel. Citadel last year alone made $10 billion in commissions. Citadel is a specialist, right? Well, actually, they're a market-making firm that employs like 40 specialists, right? But Citadel did $10 billion worth of commissions last year, right? Just moving shares back and forth for institutions and retail traders, right? It is big, big business. But this is how specialists make money, right? And this is why you need to understand the auction game, right? The specialist is our auctioneer, right? It's their job to create the market in which we will trade upon. Market maker, right? This is where their pseudonym comes from, right? It is actually their job to build the book, right? Right? It's their job to place the large limit orders for our institutions at these levels, and then to figure out how to get the price from one to the other. And that's their job. Where we help is we help from one to the other, right? It's their job to entice us so that we can help participate. That extra 24%, when it comes in and out of the market, it moves this 58% around, right? If we have large levels, if over time with volume price moves to size, we're the volume that moves the price to size. Proprietary isn't big enough. Investing isn't big enough. Only pro-tail and retail are large enough to provide that additional push. And this is why this exists. Why? Why on earth would someone who is a market maker at Citadel be willing to tell me exactly how their algorithm offers? Because if we know, they know where we are, right? But if we know how to read it and we know how to do it, right, we can be the remora that feeds off the whale's back, not the plankton that feeds the whale, right? And that's an important distinction, right? That's a very important distinction. You're always just fodder, right? You're never a part of the process, right? All you control is when you get in, right? But if you get in at the wrong time, you're plankton. If you get in at the right time, you're a remora, right? So you have to really stay focused. But if you can don't just start clicking and taking trades and putting in money in the market. This is complicated stuff, right? This is complicated stuff. But if you can take the time, read some good resources. Link, if you go to my Instagram, Thor Young Bear Bull Traders, links to all of my settings as well as my book are all on my Instagram, right? So, or look it up on Amazon, Thor Young. It's me, and the book's been up there for a few years, right? And it's called A Complete Day Trading System, not to be confused with this one. So we have 2 minutes left. Peter, are we in the wings, man? Can we do this real quick?
We're here. You bet.
All right, we are going to auction. If I didn't impress you with my in-depth explanation of how the market works, I was hoping to entice you with a little free mentoring. So we're gonna have Peter run everyone in here. So we got what are we doing, Peter? We're gonna hashtag mentoring.
Sure. What?
You want to do hashtag or hashtag free mentoring? What should we do?
Let's not make it too complicated.
Yeah,
Let's
mentoring.
Let's just do Mentor. How about that?
Mentor. Okay, hashtag Mentor.
Menthor. Menthor.
Hashtag.
All right.
Hashtag.
So if you could do that, Menthor. Let's get
No,
you in
no
here.
ing.
Here we are.
Charu, hit it again. Mentor. Menthor. As if I was a men, like multiple men,
There you
right?
go.
Like men, and I am still a Thor,
He
right?
is your
So Mentor. If you get selected, I want you to send me an email, Thor@BearbullTraders, with your name, right? And so that I make sure that I know you and all of that stuff. And I am going to hook you up with a 1-hour mentoring session where we can hang out, talk about your trading session, anything you want to do, or just hang out and chat. You know, I'm lonely sometimes, so I wouldn't mind just hanging out. We can have lunch. So, all right. So I'm going to give you guys, let's see, I'm going to give you a few more seconds. We're going to do this thing right at the top of the hour. We'll hit it at noon. So 10 seconds, everybody, to get your mentors in. Not to be confused with menthol. That's Philip Moe.
Yeah.
All right, mentoring coming in hot. Okay, Peter, let's hit it.
I was waiting for the now. Oh, now?
Go.
What?
Now.
Okay. There we go. Oliver T.
Oliver T.
Oliver T is the big winner. So there you go. Congratulations, Oliver. Remember,
Oliver
reach
T.
out to Thor, Thor, at bearbulltraders.com.
Excellent.
You can
Yeah,
take
reach out,
advantage of
Oliver.
that.
Let me know. Everybody else, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Much love to everybody. I hope you have a great rest of your trading day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Nathan's going to be here. We're going to be talking bookmap. So we'll see you all in. See you soon.
Wait, I gotta get the sound. Where's our music? We need our music. Here it is.